Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Adventure Starts Here podcast. This week, we played Hades 2, Supergiant's sequel to its hit predecessor. Released to early access in May 2024, the game followed a development cycle for over a year before being released in September 2025. While Jordan and Tom played very little or none of it during early access, Ben played it on and off, and I was the only one to consistently play patch to patch. For our discussion, all of us finished the game and got the true ending that was added on 1.0 launch. Naturally, we'll be discussing the ending, so be wary of spoilers. Also be warned, because even though we liked this game quite a bit, there's a lot to dislike that we talked about thoroughly. All of that being said, enjoy the episode. Let's kick us off. Who would be the most fun Hades character to get blackout drunk with?
I feel like the Skelly and Odysseus would have like the best stories and probably be the most entertaining. On like a I'm an adult now level, but if I were like in my youth and I just wanted to get into some fucked up adventures, it's got to be Zeus.
I'm surprised that Dionysus wasn't in any of those. Like, dude is literally throwing a party at the end of the world.
I purposely chose not to pick Dionysus because I thought that was the obvious one.
Yeah.
In any case, I actually chose Hera because I imagined that if she got turned up, I could convince her to pinch my cheeks and she could tell me that I'm a good boy.
Damn, that's like the least Ben answer I've ever heard. That's awesome.
I don't even think Dionysus is the right answer. I don't know. I didn't like him like at all. He was fucking annoying.
That's how I felt. I felt like it'd be like partying with a bunch of frat bros. I'm good.
Is that toxic positivity? Like, what would you call that?
What he was? Ambivalent to the world?
Yeah, basically.
Borderline, not necrophic. What the fuck's the word? Narcissist, no.
Oh, I know what you're thinking of. I'm almost saying hermaphroditic. Hedonistic. I knew it was an A.
Works.
Not hermaphroditic.
So I was swallowing my last bite of pizza, or else I would have answered earlier.
Yeah, I think I'd pick Karen just because he would just go, and pass out, and then you don't have to deal with him anymore.
Not a bad answer.
I think Hephaestus would be an underrated one because I think that dude could put down the fucking gallons, but at the same time be responsible about it.
Yeah, I could see that. I feel that way about no, I changed my mind. I was gonna say Poseidon, but no, I recant that.
I think Hephaestus would try to walk and it'd be like terrifying.
Poseidon would be trying to like convince you to fuck a whale or something.
I think Echo would be fun because you'd be able to see if it's like if it's all an act or not. You wouldn't be able to keep it together.
I would what I would do is I would make her try to echo progressively more complicated syllables as she got more and more drunk until she just couldn't do it anymore.
I would make her sing. I would make her sing what Sherma sings from Silk Song.
I don't remember what he sings. Like I only remember like
Fosilapito de. Okay, so we've determined everyone's blackout drunk friend. Who would be the best roommate? Or
there is such an obvious answer for who the best roommate is that I'm not going to go first just to make sure that you guys are paying attention.
All right, it's Hephaestus, so I can park in handicapped spaces when I go places.
Is it Aphrodite?
I picked Chaos because they just seem like they're above everything and don't give a fuck, and they would just let me do what I want.
Chaos owns, yeah.
I don't think I would actually say Aphrodite, to be clear.
The best, no doubt about it, is Hestia. If you say otherwise, you don't know shit about shit. Because you already know she is keeping a clean home. She's doing her dishes. She's like cooking dinner for two, even though she doesn't have to. She's the goddess of the fucking hearth.
Yeah, but I still have to walk far.
I feel like they leaned into like the fiery component of the hearth. Like, what about Hestia is screaming she's gonna keep everything clean in game?
She looks like a fat mom. She's good to go.
It's Demeter.
So is Hestia.
Yeah, but like if you have Demeter as your roommate, then everything is just gonna smell like those old caramel candies that have been in a bowl for like 6 months.
I'm pretty sure that if you ever in any way cross Hestia, it would be the worst. And the only reason I say that is because when you get those like dual blessings, the ones where you choose one and the other one gets shitty with you, Hestia is one of the worst ones to get mad at you because her like arena mechanic to avoid is so annoying.
Dude, I actually feel the opposite. I actually feel like hers was the easiest, the
Really,
hardest for sure. The one that almost killed me from 100% health to zero was fucking Hera. Hera's is psycho.
oh, that one is pretty brutal, but I don't know.
I was actually going to say Ares because I feel like his pops so quickly. Now it's kind of funny. Like if we start talking about the difficulty of the game, I feel like this game, at least for me, maybe I'm a poop sock noob, and like it's kind of hard because the difficulty of this game came in so many waves throughout the patch cycle of early access. But once I figured out the good boons, each run basically just became, am I getting those boons? No. Okay, restart run. Okay, now I have those boons. Cool, I win the run.
I think my win rate for runs after I turned a corner in the meta progression, I'm not sure when that point was. It just kind of happened where all of a sudden I just never lost runs anymore. Like it just didn't happen. Now, granted, um, I never went higher than 10 fear. And once I realized that fear doesn't do anything, I just turned it off so that I could finish the game. But yeah, like once I got to a certain point, I could just basically slap my cock against my controller and I was going to win.
I do want to slightly push back because like this was popping up in our Discord chat. Like doing the fear, I forget what it's called. There's a name for it. It's like bounties based on how much fear you have. That resource that you get is required for upgrading most of the weapons to max.
So here's what happened. I'm gonna be fully upfront with this. Right before as we get into this, once I got the credits, I cheated every resource to 50k and just unlocked everything because I was not gonna fucking do that shitty ass grind. Just just to be clear, I got up to the credits and cheated everything in.
I didn't even play after the credits. Once I got the credits, I was just like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, that's also what I did. Well, no, that's not true. I looked up specifically how to get the three last remaining keepsakes, which were it's who is it? It's like Zagreus, Hades, and Kronos. And then I just used AI overview to figure out how to unlock it. So it's like something called like the Fates Whim. And I was like, that sounds kind of cool because like they bring up the Fates all the time. It'd be nice to see them, and I do think you see them. The only problem is that I never did because I looked up what you have to do to unlock it, and it required you to like bond up all these characters in the hub, and I was like, I don't want to fucking do this. So that's literally all I did after the credits was just check that out and then close the game.
Yeah, I just knew that there were weapons with alternate movesets, and so I just wanted to see those, but the grind to get them is fucking ludicrous. So yeah, I wasn't even gonna bother to do that shit.
And that's kind of like an issue I had with the game overall is that I wasn't sure like what I did like actually unlocked things. Like I got aspects like I got unlocked a couple different aspects for each weapon, but I have no idea like how I got those unlocks. They just kind of were there one day.
I think some of it is the cauldron. I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think the cauldron controls some of it. But what puts it in the cauldron? That I have no idea.
I think it's all just like hidden trees in the cauldron. Like you unlock shit in the cauldron, which unlocks more shit, and then there's certain like story prog mocks that also unlock shit in there.
You guys are saying that the alternate moveset aspects were unlocked in the cauldron?
So
I thought
I'm
so.
not sure. Do you happen to know more about this, Seth? Because it was my impression was either it was that or it was from like bonding up with the person whose name was part of the aspect, like aspect of Moros. You had to like maybe bond up with him to like up to two maybe, because that was part of like the fate like the scrolls where like you needed to get at least two nectar with each person to like unlock the prophecy. So I was wondering if it was just like a part of that or something, but I have no idea because there's just almost no feedback related to that stuff with like within the game itself.
Yeah, I mean that's like part of my problem approaching some of the things like the grind in the game because like playing consistently patch to patch meant that if I had to do any of that, I did it months ago and like in an almost like MMO style like piecemeal release cycle rather than having to do it all on launch in a week or two for this. So like I didn't have as much of a negative experience. I remember well to specifically talk about the weapon aspects. All I remember about having to unlock the weapon aspects is you had to talk to the person associated with the name. Like I think it's oh god, I can't even remember. Like I know you get the aspect of hell from Medea, I want to say. Like specific people would have dialogue triggers that
Wait,
unlock it. I don't even remember having to do it in the cauldron, and now
okay.
I don't even know what they changed on launch.
I have a question then, because have never even seen the aspect of hell. I have seen the aspect of Medea though, so I assume that's like what you unlock when you talk to her. But I guess there's just a bunch of aspects I haven't even seen yet. Maybe I've only gotten like a max of 3 per weapon.
Yeah, like the ones I've been talking about that have alternate movesets, like they are functionally different weapons just tied to that weapon as an aspect. So like if you guys had the ones that I'm talking about, you would probably know because they're pretty obvious. It's like the fourth one that shows up in the aspect column. You guys
Okay,
might not
yeah.
have even gotten far enough to see these. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. It sounds like some post game, like super post game unlock maybe.
Yeah, I just fucking love them though because like for me, playing it patch to patch like I did, it meant that on launch I just still got to have a completely unique play style. Like I have a clip in there that I uploaded that turns the torches into like a Vampire Survivors dash build instead. Like it does the primary fire without you having to press anything.
Yeah, those are the best weapons in the game, by the way.
Yeah, it was awesome. What were you trying to say, Tom?
The way you unlock them, it starts with a cauldron incantation to unlock the 3 like base aspect upgrades, and once you level up the 3 base aspects to at least level 1, then you have to go talk to somebody, and it will give you access to the other like the hidden aspect or whatever. I don't remember doing that because, like I said, I just cheated all the resources in after I beat the game, and literally all I had to do was I did the cauldron, and then I could just upgrade all of the. Maybe because I had all of the resources you needed or whatever, and the game didn't check to see if you had to talk to the person or whatever. But yeah, I could just sit there and upgrade everything to like level legendary or whatever the hell it is.
Well, let me ask you the same question that I asked Ben last week. What was the tipping point for you deciding to mod the game to get all the resources?
This game has the worst meta progression system in video games ever and has basically poisoned meta progression in roguelites going forward probably forever for me, but we'll talk about that later. But basically, I finished the game. I didn't want to interface with the grind in such a way that I had to pour 150 extra hours into playing the same shit over and over and over and over and over again ad infinitum. And I just wanted to see what the new stuff was before we met today, and I never launched the game again. So I beat the game first, and then I was like, nope, I'm good.
Yeah, so I guess it's a little different than me and Silk Song, where it was pretty early on that I modded the game.
Yeah, like I guess I'm just trying to understand like what was it that made you feel like you needed to get those into the game? Like you had already beaten the game. What was the point? I guess is what I'm asking.
Because I had watched a YouTube video of like the Max Fear runs. A lot of people actually have not cleared, like, there's very few clears of Max Fear. It's actually fucking hard. And I saw them using the alternate weapons, and I wanted to try them because I thought they looked really cool. But in order to grind them out, it was going to be just a ridiculous amount of time input on my part. So I just circumvented the time input of literally playing the same game over and over for an extra, again, like probably 50 hours, I would assume, somewhere in there, and just just unlocked them so I could play them. There's really nothing more complex than I beat the game. Nothing about the game was going to change other than I was going to have to do the same shit over and over again, and I was already sick of that, but I wanted to try the last vestige of new content that the game had to offer me.
Thomas has given his hot take. I'm kind of curious where Jordan is sitting on this.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think this game is like a value proposition in terms of like the amount of time it's asking you to put in, and I don't think that the run to run fun is as high as Binding of Isaac, which is like obviously the peak of like roguelikes. And I also don't think like the run to run character progression is as good as like Path of Exile, which is what like a big gameplay inspiration for the game. So I think it's just kind of in this weird space in between those two games of like why would I play Hades 2 for 80 hours when I think that those two games offer superior experiences to this one.
Agreed.
So it's basically just like a case of other games are doing it better, so this game isn't really earning it. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Like it puts cool stuff behind too much of a wall where it's like Isaac is just cool stuff, or more cool stuff keeps coming in, and then yeah, like Path of Exile is like the world's your oyster, basically, of grinding and player choice and difficulty and all of that.
Yeah, so I have like a dam holding me back from talking about this meta progression. So whenever we want to jump into it, it's fine. But for me, really, what it is that the game's difficulty never increases between runs. Like, the game is the most difficult in the first 10 nights when the stupid ass fucking game casts Eris Curse on you. And then after that, it's the same thing every time, unless you want to like artificially inflate the difficulty via fear, which isn't required to beat the game or do anything. The fact that it wants you to climb these huge grindy hurdles while at the same time not testing my mastery via increasing the difficulty unless I decide I want to turn the knob myself just feels wrong and kind of bad.
Yeah, and this is kind of like a director Ben thing that I like wrote up a bit about this subject specifically, where I just feel like it wouldn't be too much of an ask of like the audience to have to at least raise your fear like up to like 8, which I think is the number you need to unlock the first thinly veiled muscle girl fetish statue. And the reason why I choose that number specifically is because it's like a nice bar to set for all players, because it's like there's like this sweet spot maybe where like god gamers can just clear it with mechanical execution, and lesser gamers can compensate using like a smarter and slightly more min-max keepsake and boon selections, just like learning more about like the game system to overcome that challenge. But the reason why I bring that up is not just to increase the difficulty of the game, because I do think the game overall is pretty easy. It's that if you did something like that, there could be a trade-off where instead of having to beat each final boss 4 times, you just maybe require only one of those materials from each boss, but they wouldn't drop the material until you had 6 fear for the surface and 8 fear for the underworld. So or some mixture of that, or some like calibration of those knobs, but like literally anything that would like require more than just the literal bare minimum from the player.
I do want to, without spoiling any of your guys' overall opinions on this based on our Discord chats, just for those listening, I do want to say before we go into the meta progression and the grindy components of this game, all of us really like this game. This is a very good game. Like, I think all of us are pretty unanimous in that, but we are going to shit on the meta progression pretty hardly, myself included, even though it didn't affect me the same as it affected everyone else. For me, and tell me if you guys agree with this, I felt like the biggest issue with the meta progression is it, maybe like you could succinctly say it by just saying they're a bit stingy with what they give you, but like more specifically, I feel like number one, the fact that there are so many different resources that you need to do so many different things is a problem. And that's also related to the fact that with pretty much all of those resources, you can only get them from one place. I like started leveling up my late game aspects on different weapons, and the only way I could unlock or upgrade these was uh Mount Olympus summon surface runs. So I have to have a run good enough to get to Mount Olympus. And then I also have to remember to farm there, because by the time I get to Mount Olympus, I'm like, I'm done with the game. I'm zooming through everything. I'm going to forget to fucking loot the actual things before I go to the next area. And I feel like the combination of those two things makes the grind feel even worse than it kind of already is.
Yeah, so here's my take. Jordan, if you want to go first, that's fine.
No, you can go.
So, the way that I tend to think about these games like this is you can have one of two systems at play for your meta progression. You can either have upgrades that operate laterally or vertically. So, laterally, that would be things like Slay the Spire, Monster Train, and Binding of Isaac. I think. I haven't played much Isaac, but basically, you're not really getting these raw number buff upgrades. You're just getting like additional tools. And the reason to do that is because while some of those tools may be better than what you have on the outset of the game, it's really just there to kind of slow drip feed you so that you don't get overwhelmed right when you start the game. So like card unlocks and Slay the Spire, relic unlocks and Slay the Spire, all that stuff. Like they don't just dump it on you the first time you play because that would feel overwhelming, but the degree of choice that that gives you, the more you play the game, does end up making you better by virtue of just having more options. Whether or not those options are stronger, I mean, could be debatable, I guess. But and then vertical would be something more like Vampire Survivors, where every single time that you play, you are accruing some resource that will just give you those like raw number buffs. I know Vampire Survivors has like the different classes and stuff too, but which are more lateral. But really, the meta progression of that game is predicated on those raw number buffs. So the reason why that works for both of those games is because as you progress through that unlock system, the game itself is getting harder. So like Slay the Spire's got Ascensions, Vampire Survivors gets harder every like new level that you upgrade and all that shit. So when you get those upgrades, they feel meaningful because now you can go through and maybe beat a level that you were struggling with before. You can beat an Ascension you were struggling with before. All in the name of exhibiting more mastery over the game and its systems. So my problem with Hades 2 is that it gives you both lateral and vertical upgrades, but it never increases the difficulty. So, like, while having that power fantasy that I was talking about, where once I turned the corner in the meta progression and I just never lost another run ever again, is kind of nice. The problem is how much it asks me to play the game in order to like get the ending that I want or get the upgrades that I want, but it's not rewarding. It's just so shallow and hollow because nothing's getting harder. I'm just becoming progressively more powerful, and in order to like reach those peaks, the amount that I have to play is just fucking absurd. So I agree with what Ben was saying earlier. I actually wrote it down in my manifesto, that I think this game would have been so much better for me if they cut the grind like literally. I'm not even gonna. I'm just gonna make up a number that sounds right in my head by like 75%, if not more. But they required you to progress in fear in order to progress the narrative, progress your meta progression, whatever. Like progress something. Cut down on the amount of stupid bullshit I have to loot during the runs, but make me increase my fear so that you're cutting down on the extremely tedious, boring grind, but asking me to get better at the game. And I think that that would have served this game so much better than just mindless, tedious, easy stuff.
Yeah, I think a big issue that I have is that the fear system is optional and they don't give any presets for what difficulties would be. So I think it should be like easy, normal, hard, godlike, something like that. And then there should be custom fear runs where you can do whatever you want. But the fact that they leave it all up to the player and don't scale the game at all off of base is like a serious issue because they balance the game off of base, but you never have a reason to go higher other than these statues that don't do anything.
Just to clarify your opinion, are you saying that like the reward structure should scale off of the difficulties that you're describing?
Mm, I mean, I think that would help, but I think uh, I don't like the fear system at all because a 15 fear run for me and a 15 fear run for you could be 15 fear run could be 40 times harder than my 15 fear run because I found the fear sliders that don't really affect my run that much where you're doing the really hard ones. So you can't even really talk about like what a fear run is until you get the max fear because everything up until then is like arbitrary because there's no checkpoints of like I beat the game on easy, I beat the game on normal, I beat the game on hard, I beat the game on expert. It's like I beat the game on 9 fear. It's like what does that mean? Does that what 9 fear did you get? Did you do the one that you have to do a run in 5 minutes? That gives you like 9 fear, I think. But like where's the normalization in the difficulties there?
And so I saw in our notes that you felt that this game was very well balanced. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's my remembering of what you wrote down in our notes. How do you balance that with what you just said about the fear?
I mean, you could just have like checkpoints, right? So like as a developer, you can play it and you can go like, okay, so something that's nice to do is You can so first I if it's me, I erase the whole fear system and it's gone and it's going to be like an Isaac style progression system because I think that's the way that you go. When you first beat the first boss, then there's a variation of that boss and then there's a boss after that and you keep stacking. Like I don't think the Vow of Rivals should even be an option. I think that's how it was in Hades 1, but I don't remember of where you just beat the bosses a certain amount of times and then they just get these variants that are mixed in with the bosses, which I think is just how it should be.
It was both in Hades 1. What I remember from the first boss in Hades 1 is that you get to Megara, and you can either fight her or her two sisters. And like there would be aspects of her fight that progressed the more times you fought her. I
Yeah.
think there might have been some other bosses like that too. But then the Vow of Rivals, like the Vow of Rivals, I guess, is always a separate thing, but there is still like boss progression isolated per boss as well.
Yeah,
don't know
I
if
think
that's
something
true
like
for
that.
every boss.
I think because that also makes like the runs more interesting to do more runs. Like that's why I think Isaac is so sick because you beat a boss and then when you do the run again, you get to that boss, but like something's different or like it's a different area that you're in and you're like, what the hell's going on? And then it's just constantly giving you like this drip of like, okay, something's different. Now deal with it. Instead of like once you beat Kronos once, beating Kronos the sixth time, if you don't up your fear, is the same thing. And it doesn't feel good for that.
Yeah, exactly. 100% agreed.
There's one thing I will say about at least about the Vow of Rivals. I'm actually fine with that being optional. My issue with it is that like if it's going to be optional, and I feel like that's the right choice because it can be pretty difficult and frustrating to have to fight specifically like Prometheus and Medea. Like that shit actually enrages me. That one fight specifically, that pairing. So it's nice to be able to turn it off and actually get some reactivity because they actually mock me for turning it off, which I liked. But I like it being optional, but I think there should be a reward tied to using it. Same thing with anything that could be changed to be optional in this game, like fear. The whole fear system could just be more rewarding, and then I would be able to more like defend and justify its like implementation.
Yeah, I think like some of the unfortunate things about that too is that some of the fear stuff is like really cool. Like there's the one fear that adds modifiers to the enemies. So like elite enemies will get like a suck in thing that they do, which can really screw you over. Some of them get like a little beam that goes around them. And obviously the like Vow of Rivals bosses are just they're they're just different bosses entirely, like 100% just different bosses. And so it's unfortunate that all this optional content is optional because it is good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it should be like here's the story difficulty, which is a progressing difficulty that progresses towards, I don't know, make up a number, 31 fear, that's like catered for the developers. And then there's a custom difficulty where you can turn on whatever you want and then just do it that way. Um, because yeah, like while Ben said, like you should be able to turn it off if you want to see the end of the narrative. I don't think you should be able to turn off the alternate fights. I think you should have to kill Typhon with Vow Rivals on. I think you should have to be able to kill Kronos with Vow Rivals on because like it makes it so much more interesting for because when I fought Kronos the last time, I was like, oh, maybe he'll have a third phase, and no, that's locked behind Vow Rival, so it just feels really shitty if you don't have that on.
I didn't even know Val Rivals went that high. I couldn't get unlock any more past like the second fight of each route.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing because it's
Yeah.
behind stupid bullshit, but I'm not even talking about that.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
I mean-
guess I didn't even grind enough apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
Cronus's third phase is pretty sweet, though. It's actually pretty fun. I agree with what you guys are saying, though. But I think that there's one of two ways they could have gone with fear. One is forcing you to do it via the narrative, kind of like what you were saying, Jordan. And I think the other way that they could have done it is just turn it into like PoE maps. Like the higher, like for let's say every, I don't know, 4 fear, I get some percentage of extra resources, or the resources show up like more frequently in each encounter, or like whatever, right? Like just make it so that if I crank up that fear, the grind gets a little bit easier. And I think every issue I would have had with the game would have fucking evaporated into thin air. But the fact that fear is just actually nothing other than a dick measuring contest, it's so
Yeah.
silly.
It seems like
Yeah.
a home run to do just crank up resources, and I think it should be like a crank. I think it should be like 25% per one fear. So like if you do a max fear run, you're getting like the equivalent of what That'd be like 14 times of what you would with a no fear run, which I think that's a good trade off.
I just feel like, and this is just like leaning more into like the optional aspect of fear, but there are just so many underutilized like cozy systems in the hub that I feel like they could have just added unlockable rewards through fear. Like the more fear runs you do, you can like accrue some currency that lets you buy furniture, like
Oh
new
yeah,
cooler furniture that Dora can put around the hub. Like just more like, and that's just how I feel about like the cozy things in general, where it
oh
just
yeah.
feels like it's just a bunch of features that they added because they knew people liked cozy games. But unfortunately, for at least for me, like whenever I see the word cozy, I think boring. So like
Yeah.
stapling some rewards to it through fear, I felt like would have gotten me to actually interact with it because I didn't even put down a piece of furniture at all, just like
I
from my
did.
entire
Wait, you could put
playthrough.
down furniture?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
dude, it's the
I thought
dumbest
you
thing
were
ever.
making fun of them.
It's so shit. It's such a shitty mechanic, honestly. Like, I put down all the furniture that I could because again, I cheated all the resources in, and it's like it's not even cool. Like even the maxed out stuff of what you can unlock is just kind of it's I don't know. It left
yeah.
me tasting like my breath was farts.
I remember talking to one person and I put down like a rug in front of Hypnos and it still looked so shitty that I never wanted to interact with it again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like you're fucking the beds that you can unlock. I unlocked the cheapest one and it was just like a little like tatami mat on the floor and I was like, I want something nicer than this." So I unlocked the like super expensive special one and it was just a different colored tatami mat. I was
Nah.
like, "Okay, cool."
yeah, and I guess just like bring something more concrete to what I was suggesting. Like, let's say you beat Vow of Rivals Cerberus, then you can unlock like an avatar of Cerberus that can like follow you around in the hub,
Yeah.
or like you beat Vow of Rivals, uh, let's say like Typhon, and you get like a special Typhon bed to replace your tatami mat.
Yeah, for
Like
Yeah,
like
sure.
it's like
they're
the
not the greatest rewards, but it's something. It's
Something.
literally
Yeah.
something.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's the
it's
whole
like the
problem. The
it's
whole
like the MMO theory of rewards. Like you just beat this sick ass boss that had this sick ass weapon, and now you get that weapon. Or like
Mhm.
Dark Souls, whatever.
Yeah, like just literally anything that would reward some degree of player agency, right? Because there's this game has a real player agency problem, and that is a huge one.
I also feel like, do you guys actually remember what you have to spend to get that cosmetic stuff? I don't remember off the top of my head.
Oh, Fame. I never interacted with that
Oh,
system.
Oh, is that what it
I
is? I didn't
Yeah.
even know what they were called.
I only reason
okay.
I know what they were called because I saw a bunch of people had an achievement called like acquire 10,000 fame, and I was like, I don't even know what fame is. And yeah, never did it once.
Oh, wait, now I know what that shit
I
is. It's
It's called
it's what you can
kudos.
get from selling the trash that Ares throws on the ground,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's kudos.
Oh,
Kudos, that's what it
kudos.
is,
yeah.
not
That's what it's
fame.
called. Yeah, and I feel like part of this too is that like some of this might not seem as bad as it really is until you look at it in the context of the rest of the systems that are in the game, because like you spend all this time unlocking the weapons, unlocking the aspects, like unlocking your arcana, like oh my god, I could mention like 5 more systems right there, and then you get to the cosmetic stuff and it's like oh my god, another resource.
Yeah, I think something that's really bad for the game design as well, that I think the games that do this really well don't do it at all, is putting meta progression rewards as a substitute for power progression in runs. Like, imagine in Slay the Spire if you get to pick 2 cards or a new card to add to your like your card pool. Like that would feel fucking terrible. And that's what this game does like all over the place. Like you want to use your
Mm-hmm.
rerolls to reroll, I don't remember what the currency's called, bones and the stupid ashes and all of that shit, and then it rolls into another meta progression currency, and you're like, oh, so the node is just a meta progression node. I'm wasting my time, and you can like hit like a
Oh,
small chance boon shit.
Yeah, I hated that.
I wasn't sure if I was just getting unlucky or if it was coded
No,
like that.
I'm pretty sure it's all coded to where like every X amount of rooms can either only be ashes, the bone shit, or the nectar. That's what it felt like
Yeah,
anyway, or maybe
I think
gold.
that I think that is true, and that's what was true in Hades 1. I think there are like small exceptions. Like I think there are 3 categories, which are like the meta progression stuff, like the bones. There are resources like magic and health. And I think like Hermes is tied to those as well. But for whatever reason, and the third category is boons. And for whatever reason, sometimes the second category can roll into the third category.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
But
I will
it feels like a really
say,
small percentage chance. It's like not often.
yeah. And I will say that they do kind of alleviate the pain that I felt whenever I was forced into one of those rooms by the cauldron upgrade that makes it so ashes give you +5 health, like max health, and the other one gives you +5 MP. Like I felt like that was like a satisfactory way of powering up runs with resources that I didn't want or need anymore, but it's so fucking deep into the cauldron too.
And it's still not as good as if I was just like popping off and every single thing I got is good. Like again, like I think all of these games that have like the dopamine feedback, like Vampire Survivors and stuff like that, if you introduce meta progression into the power progression, it just makes it feel so much worse. Like it's like a forever game mechanic. Like it's an MMO style mechanic. It's a game like the Hades wants you to play 200 hours of Hades 2. But if you're like, I'm not going to play 200 hours of Hades 2, it just everything just feels asinine.
Yeah, dude, it's like having to donate a portion of your check to your 401k. Like you don't like having to do it, but you got to do it. And you know that in like 40 years it'll feel good. But when I'm playing a fucking game that is just like predicated on constant dopamine release, I just want to keep that going. I don't want to have to play this fucking long-term risk reward game. It just feels really stupid for a
Yeah, I'm just
game
going to get
like
a new
this.
job.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
I also want to mention, like, as someone that has almost 200 hours played in Hades 2, and not as much in Hades 1, but like a decent chunk of time played into Hades 1, and like I bought it twice, once for my Switch. I I only view what you were describing with like getting magic or health or whatever from the meta progression resources. Like that is just it feels like more of a slap in the face than anything
Oh
else.
yeah.
Like, oh wow, 5 health, great. And yeah, over the course of a run, does it add up? Sure. But it still doesn't feel good. And I
I
don't
don't know.
there's something that bothers me in a lot of roguelikes where they feel a little bit afraid to like truly let you be powerful. And in a game like
Yep.
this, if it's gonna like be that forever game style thing where it wants you to put all this time into it, why not just make it so there's a cauldron upgrade that completely removes the rooms where I get the meta progression? Just turn them into boons, turn them into health, turn them into magic. Like, why are you
Or
making them weak shit?
or turn them into like infinite rewards where I can like continually sink resources into some never-ending upgrade that will make
Mhm.
it so that it starts at 5 max health, but if I grind for 300 hours, now every time I loot ashes I'm getting like 25 max health or
Yeah,
something, you know?
yeah. It feels like when it comes to the meta progression, this game is going in two different directions. And I think if there's anything that's true for me over the games we've discussed, I can't stand it when people try to go both directions. Like, commit to one thing, have a vision, make it work.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
this
I think
game
that's
was
a really
just
good point.
super quantity over quality, big time IMO. Sorry, Jordan.
No, you're good. I think Seth brings up a really good point of like Supergiant definitely feels afraid to let you become super powerful in the game because the reason why like Isaac is sick because like the runs get so unhinged and they get unhinged like from the beginning of the game and they only get more unhinged as they put more items into the pool and it's like same thing with like Path of Exile, like Path of Exile you could see insane like screen clearing builds where like they shoot one arrow and then like they just run through the map and then everything just blows up. But like this game is like everything is kind of like blinders on and it's like what the developers developed is what you are going to play with. And it's also like Vampire Survivors is another game where like people want to do dope shit, they don't want to be like narrowed into these like Dark Souls style limited builds where like you can't do dope shit. And so that's why I think it's kind of weird where they never really let you kind of open up and breathe.
Yeah, and to that point as well, I feel like that like philosophy of theirs leads to a real balance issue because we kind of touched on this already, but I felt like the balance of the game just gets fucked because of the fact that you're not incentivized to add any fear. So if you're just trying to get to the credits, you're just playing zero fear, and it becomes very apparent what boons you should always pick and what boons you should never pick. And
Yeah.
so, like that system of like not wanting to allow things to go too fucking hog wild, just like basically creates this atmosphere of always going for the same few things because you know it's going to lead to like the highest power spikes, basically.
Yeah.
So I want to we don't have to totally stop with the meta progression. I think we have a lot more to say about this, but I do want to take a brief intermezzo to talk about some of those required boons that you mentioned here and in the chat earlier. Um, what are some of the required boons that you guys felt as you were playing? Because I'm really wondering if we are all going to say the same ones or not. And
Poseidon
I'm
Gain.
and I'm also gonna wonder if any of those, like, if they don't match up, then are they really required? Because I never thought of Poseidon as a required boon.
Poseidon Gain, if you are playing a build that wants to spend MP, is the most broken thing on planet Earth because you have now, with the cost of one boon, given yourself infinite MP.
Which one's
But
Well,
I
I'd
Poseidon
feel
say-
Gain?
like, so to be, I guess, to push back a little bit, I feel like there are so many different boons that are
Yep.
essentially infinite
Yeah.
magic. It's not just Poseidon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
but that
The
one
Poseidon
is
one's
like
good, but the Hestia one's even better.
I think the Poseidon one is just broco as fucko because like there's you may have like a few seconds where you don't have infinite MP and then you just dash around for a little bit and wait 3 seconds and then you have infinite MP again. Like anytime I was playing the wands weapon, that was like I had the Poseidon keepsake because I was going to pick that every time, no matter what.
Just to clarify, the Poseidon one is the one where, like, you spend MP and you gain that back slowly on a cooldown, right?
Mm-hmm. You
Oh,
No, the way it works is you spend MP and it recharges all the MP that you spend over the next X seconds, and then it has I think an 8 second built-in cooldown. So basically, you're just gonna use it to pop your Omega spells, and then you have infinite MP to just spam attack for the next 5, 6, 7, whatever seconds. You wait a few seconds for the cooldown to come back up, and you have infinite MP all over again. So basically, you'll just never run out because it's just constantly regenerating everything that you spend.
I thought that whenever I got that one, I was like, I guess I'll take it. Like I thought the Hestia one that Seth said, because I only use Ignium. Like that's only what I used all the other weapons like once or twice, and then I was like, Ignium's just the best. And I feel like I'm playing Path of Exile where I'm just trying to find like a good build and I could progress through the game. So I just use Ignium the whole time. And then the Hestia one where when you do damage, you restore MP, felt like it was truly infinite MP. Like I could not spend all my MP no matter what because of just how much you build back. The Poseidon one had too much of like the use all your MP. Wait, run around, do nothing. Use all your MP. Like I even like the when you cast, you restore MP. Like I think that there was a you need a MP restoration boon, but that's as far as I think what was necessary.
I don't know. I just know that I had the Poseidon keepsake maxed out. I would re-roll until Poseidon Gain showed up in my first boon. I would rarefy it or whatever, and I never had to think about MP ever again outside of times where my damage was too low and boss fights would run really long. Then I would like get down to sections where I had to think about it. But other than that, it's. I mean, I thought that thing was broken as fuck.
So I don't want to, like, belabor specifically the MP ones for too long. But like I do just want to, like, say this more broadly where, like, there are a lot of boons that provide you infinite MP in different ways, but they're
Mhm.
definitely not all born equal. And that's probably true for the rest of the boons. So is that kind of the component you were describing, Thomas, where, like, some of them feel required because they're not born equal?
Pretty much, because again, like I said, for the and it depends on the weapons, right? Because like if I'm playing the daggers, I don't give a shit about MP, so I'm not really gonna like bother trying to find any sort of gain boon. But for builds where I know I am going to be spending MP, that was the first thing I picked every time, and I never regretted it.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like so much of my understanding of the different boons waxed and waned through the different patch cycles, especially because, like, obviously a lot of balancing updates as they're doing it. But, like, for example, I don't think in my first, like, 50 hours of playing the game, I don't think I picked a cast boon once, not a single time. But in my last 50 hours, those started to become a priority because casting is really good once you take the 30% damage amp arcana. And so I feel like it's really easy to think that, like, the broken build that you found is the broken one. Like Thomas, you wouldn't have found this one, but there's a Ares boon where if you're under 40 health, you regen 1 health every time you attack. And if you're not getting one shot, it means it's just infinite health. But yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, so like under your popcorn section in the Hades 2 itinerary, that is what I wrote down as my favorite boon. Well, it's actually kind of a combination where it's that one the 40 health one, the vampire drain, plus the one that is also Ares that says you have an increased chance to deal 200% damage, and that chance goes up the lower your current health is. So for me, it was like playing Final Fantasy VIII, where I just wanted to keep my health at 40 at all
Yeah.
times, basically, and just keep healing myself up to 40 and just do like way too much damage.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it makes sense for like cast boons to be insane because that is the one button that no matter what you are doing, you are going to be pressing that button all the time.
Yeah.
So, but honestly, I think uh, even though Poseidon Gain is probably my most picked boon by far, I think the actual best boons are probably Aphrodite's. Like Aphrodite's, if you're close to them, deal 80% extra damage. That's fucking ridiculous.
Bro, Aphrodite with the daggers is
Oh
ludicrous.
yeah,
It
it's
is
fucking.
absurd.
It is nutso fucko. If you get both, what's it called, Flutter Strike and um, Flutter Strike, but for specials, I forget what it's called. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely insane damage.
I don't know if you guys did the same thing I did, but like I prioritized boons that didn't take up one of those primary slots on the left because that always felt like it was just like a +1, whereas like I could take my time figuring out which like main boon I wanted for my attack, special, and cast. But then there's just like the ones that don't take up those spots that you don't have to sacrifice that would just also modify those attacks that just seemed really good.
I think there's like two things
Mm-hmm.
that go into it. Number one is like how desperate are you to have that? Like if I'm playing the daggers, I want the Artemis melee one. I don't care what rarity it is, just give it to me. And it also kind of depends. Like I feel like I used to have that view more, but once I started like always doing the fear that puts you on a timer, like there is kind of a value judgment you have to make. Like, am I going to have enough damage to beat this zone if I wait to pick a primary? You know.
Yeah, for sure. There's another one I'm trying to think of. Oh man, that's gonna bug me. I think a lot of the saloon hexes are fucking crazy as hell too, and also another big reason why I pick Poseidon Gain so often is because it just allows you to always cast your fucking hex, no matter what the limit is. It's crazy the difference between the good saloon boons and the bad ones. They're either game breaking or useless.
There's one last thing about well, this is like slightly tangential. I don't want to like derail us too much, but like the voice actors or voice actors in general in this game either say Celine or Cellini. Did you guys notice that? Like it was
Yeah.
driving me crazy when I was playing the
Who says
game.
Celine? I thought it
Uh,
was weird that all of them say Cellini. Are there people that say Celine?
some of them for sure. I know I heard it, and then I know that Melinoë says Cellini, and then like others say Celine, and it's just like which one is it?
Huh.
There is another example of that too, where characters pronounce someone's name differently. I can't think of who it is off the top of my head, but that is not the only example of that.
There's a lot of Typhons versus Typhons.
Yeah, that's weird to me.
Well, speaking on the like some of their performances though, how did you guys feel about them? I think we were pretty high on them in the chat, but I think they're all pretty good. Like it's pretty hard to say there's a bad one. There is something like universal about the performances that I kind of dislike though, and it was true in Hades 1 as well. These motherfuckers talk fast. Like they do not stop they do not stop talking once they go.
I feel like they have to though, because and this is like a criticism that I wrote down where there's just like I don't actually mind like the overwhelming amount of dialogue. I feel like that's just grandfathered into the DNA of this game where you kind of just expect that there's going to be a fuck ton of dialogue, but I wish that they could like decrease the average length of each dialogue where it's not like a whole paragraph every time.
Yeah, I definitely stopped listening to what those fuckers were yapping on about at some point.
I like the in-run dialogue. I don't like the in-between run dialogue.
Yeah, and that goes you're talking about like the cozy hub section.
That's the dialogue I don't like. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like a part of that is because it's in that section where like when I was like getting into the zone of playing this game and like I just really wanted to slay him run after run after run, kind of like Slay the Spire style. But the reason why it'll never be at that tier for me is because of that hub section where you do your run, and then when your run's over, you know that you're gonna have to do some choring. Because if you don't do your choring, you might miss out on the meta progression that lets you unlock the next cool
Oh
thing.
yeah. That's my other major criticism of this game is how much narrative is baked into the part of the game that I just want to blaze through to get to my next run rather than the narrative being in the run.
Yeah, it's kind of weird too because I thought that Hades 1 had like maybe it didn't do it that much throughout. It did it with like the first boss, Megara, and the last boss, especially with Hades. And like what I really liked about how the story in the first game was baked into the narrative or baked into the runs rather was like how you would get to the surface in Hades 1 and like every time you got there you would get a little farther before you would die and get sent back to the underworld. Like it was a cool way of like showing you are physically doing something, whereas in this game the only version of that is like literally just different dialogue with Zagreus, which like I guess narratively, like yeah, you're doing stuff, but it doesn't have that like visceral punch like the first game had.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
like one
completely agree.
of that's one of my big problems with this game is that it doesn't really feel like it has any narrative moment that does feel like a punch. Like there's nothing punchy about the story in this game. The sole exception to that is maybe when Hecate gets kidnapped or whatever when you're doing the last Chronos run before he dies or yeah, whatever, gets fucking datified. But um, I really think that this game needed something punchy inside of the runs rather than just being a bunch of dialogue boxes in between runs because it just makes everything fall so flat for me. And I think in general, I think I just liked the story from the first game more, just kind of holistically in general. I felt like it was just a little more compelling than this one, which is weird because the stories are basically the same thing, really. Like there's not much of a difference between them, but something about the first one just worked a lot better for me.
Well, I want to talk about the ending. Do you guys want to mention anything else about what we've talked about so far before we jump into that? Because my God, do I want to say some things about the end?
I guess one thing where it's like the cozy hub dialogues, they kind of have like the inverse issue of the like actual combat gameplay in that like a lot of the difficulty modifiers and stuff feel optional, but your chorin that you do in between runs that does not feel optional. It feels like you have to do it or you're fucking up. Or at least that's how I felt about it.
Yeah. I mean, they
Yeah,
have
it's
such a
definitely
great gameplay focus with like all the shit you get in the runs and everything. And like you need to constantly be filling up your garden and all this nonsense, and it's not good. And like you said, that also takes away from kind of like old school style game design, which is like get the player playing the game, just have them playing the game. Like when you press play, you play. When you die, you want to press play again. Like put in 2 quarters, press the start button, you're playing again. You don't have to put in 2 quarters, press the start button, and then go outside and fucking farm a little bit of grass before you can play again.
I feel like some of my issue with that
Co-signed.
too. I feel like some of my issue with that too is that a bunch of the stuff in the hub area is just so spread out. Like I'm thinking specifically how the garden is so far away from the little like delivery guy that can give you something specific. Like they're so far away for no reason. And like that might sound like a small thing, but you know, you play the game for 190 nights and like that time adds up.
I would say my biggest annoyance with the hub world Chorin is how fucking long it took to unlock every incantation. Like I will literally start tying a noose if I hear the phrase "so mote it be" ever again. I swear to fucking god.
Also, kind of a small thing, but I really hated how when you use the cauldron to like make an item and it does the like you have to do a run thing, you can't do any other incantations while it's cooking.
Oh yeah.
Yep, very frustrating.
I didn't mind that much because that felt like a little like incremental optimization you could do where you just do all your regular invocations and then before you go into your run you just pop one of those like cauldron lock-in ones.
I guess the level of good that I feel when I remember to do that versus the level of bad that I feel now that I can't do it is uh, unequal.
That's fair.
I think anything that's time gated was like just terrible. I think the worst part of all of the collectibles out in the world was the seeds, because you have to like get a seed to get a thing, to use that thing to unlock a thing. It's too many steps in the way.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't even know, like you get like a poppy seed and you're like, what the fuck does that do? You get a cattail seed, you're like, what the fuck is that? Like nothing means anything.
Yeah, one thing that drove me crazy was because there's such a like myriad of cauldron upgrades. At some point, my eyes just started kind of glazing over what they did because I felt like 95% of them really just didn't do much that I cared about. So I just kind of got to the point where I was like, highlight the green thing, press X, move on with my fucking life. So at some point, I unlocked the ability to craft those shadow things or whatever. Like when you go into the cauldron, you press RB. But it took me forever to realize that, and so I'm like sitting there wondering, how the fuck do I get this resource? Like, because it gates you on major progression, and it took me forever to realize, oh, I have to press RB here. And then as soon as I did that, and it said I had to wait like 9 encounters, I almost threw my controller across the room. I was so fucking mad. Like, why not just give me the thing? I paid the resources. Why not just give me the thing? Just you're making me pay the resources and then go play a run and then come back to this bullshit fucking chorin again so that I can continue on the progression. Just really, really, I cannot state enough how much I hate the progression in this game.
You know what you just said about that and what Jordan just said earlier made me realize maybe this is obvious, but why the fuck do you have to pick up the seeds in the runs and then plant the seeds?
Mm-hmm.
Why doesn't it just give you the item? Like what's the point of that?
So a lot of these things, it ties back into the cozy thing, and I'll give them a little bit of credit here because like some of the things that they created for like the bathing scenes are actually pretty cool. Uh, like one of my favorite portraits in this whole game is when you get Nemesis to take off her armor and she lets her hair down, and she looks really great. And like you could just get to talk to her like real candidly, and it gives you like these like different narrative threads that I think are way more interesting than the main story. Like also doing the same thing with Eris, like just letting her talk to you like real candidly, and just outside of like the way that you interact with her normally, just looking like she's like more vulnerable. I think that stuff's pretty cool, and I feel like if you didn't engage with that stuff and you because like the whole purpose of that those mechanics of like going to the baths with the NPCs is to pass time, so you don't have to go into a run and do encounters to let those things progress. But that's also still a negative because if you don't like that stuff, which a lot of people probably don't, then you kind of just get fucked in the ass.
I mean, I think that stuff is still equally as great if I'm not planting seeds. Like I don't think that the planting seed system benefits from having a way to skip it via cool things in the game. Just have the cool things in the game be the benefit for the interacting with the cool things in the game.
Yeah, like I'll put it this way, because again, if they want to commit to the cozy feel, go for it, and like make me actually have to like plant the seeds in my garden, and I have to fertilize them, and I have to like water them, and like make it an actual process of like tending to my plants, like the witch that I am. But instead, it's just okay. I go there, I press X, then I press Y, then I leave, then I come back, then I press X. Like that. That's just so much less interesting and evocative.
It'd be sick if it was like Plants vs Zombies, where every time you had to plant a seed and then you had to play a tower defense.
Make it into like a World of Warcraft, like the I don't know if you guys know this, but they made like basically an idle game where you sent your followers out on missions, and
Yeah,
there was like combat that you could watch
Oh
them
yeah.
do and stuff like.
there you go. That's perfect. Hey, Nemesis, go kill this thing. When you come back, we'll take a bath together.
Yeah, at least Nemesis does something. What is Moros doing? He's not pulling his weight. Send his ass out there.
He's actually useless.
He's mysterious.
He's an aspect of Doom, just being a fucking doomer loser by
He's
the
like
scroll of
Will.
fate.
That might be a little too harsh. I'm sorry.
Might be too hard.
I think another thing about the performances really quick is I think that whoever made the decision to put a little bit of reverb and a filter on all the performances like kind of ruined a lot of them.
I think they should have done that for the gods and probably no one else. I think it's okay for the gods. It gives them that like epic, ethereal, godly, authoritative quality to them. I don't mind it with them. But another thing for me too is I feel like, and I was sitting here having this thought as we were talking, so it's not really fleshed out. But I feel like you could take any of the characters and move them to a different character, and the voice would still be fine by and large. Like every single voice acting performance, with the exception of maybe Arachne, is like interchangeable completely. Maybe hot take and not very well thought through, but that is how I was thinking about it for the last probably 10 minutes.
I think it's more true for the women than the men.
I mean, can you? Okay, the other one that you couldn't do that with, I guess, is Hermes. But if you just took Hermes' voice lines and put like a fucking speak at 75% speed filter, then it's fine.
I'm having trouble balancing that idea with the fact that I think the voice for each character is very fitting. Like Scylla, for example. Could you throw Scylla on like Aphrodite? I guess you
Think
could,
you
but
could throw her on
I don't think.
Arachne.
Yeah, that's true. I will say Scylla is probably another example. I guess I was more thinking about the gods and goddesses for the most part. But like even like Nemesis could go on like one of the meaner goddesses, for example. I don't know. They don't feel like they have a whole lot of variation. Are they bad? No, but are they like super standout? Also kind of no.
I think there's a couple that stand out. Like Zeus is an obvious one, but especially Hephaestus, like and Hermes, obviously, all of those stand out very nicely. I think.
I think the best one's Prometheus.
Oh yeah, Prometheus is fucking goaded.
Oh, is that 'cause
yeah,
it's
yeah, if
Ben
we're talking about
Starr?
bosses too,
Oh,
yeah.
it's partially because
Yeah.
of Ben Starr, yeah, but also I don't know. I just think he's like the only actual cool character. I don't think anyone else plays it cool.
How do you guys feel about Kronos? Kronos' performance.
He sucks. And a reason why I hated part of his performance is I don't know if you guys had this, but when he would talk to you in runs, his volume was 80% louder than anything else in the game.
I
Like when he
grew to
would like
hate
pop
him.
up on the screen and say shit, like for me it was just so fucking loud. And so
I
I either
did.
had to go ahead.
I was gonna say I did have a real problem with the like volume levels in this game. I really had to like play with them, and I think it led to me like missing out on a lot of music while I was actually playing because of the way that I had to like fuck around with the volume bars because it felt like I could never get things like where I wanted them.
Yeah. The mixing felt really off. To say that I hated Kronos, I think it's just that I was annoyed by the fact that he talks loud. But to me, um, from Herc's Great Adventure for PS1, Hades in that game kind of has like a little whispery kind of getting down here thing, and I feel like Kronos was doing that, but just loud. It didn't feel like a good performance. He felt kind of like a weird mouse kind of style performance for a dude that should be like the commander of time.
I feel like he's just kind of got that like arrogant, cold, um, like sort of elegant nobility performance to him, and I don't know. I think Kronos worked for me personally.
Yeah,
I think
I thought it was fine as well. Like I grew to like hate him in like a loving way, where like I actually didn't have too many problems with this performance, and that's because I usually never have a problem with performance unless it's like really egregiously bad. But like I grew to hate him because he would just pop in randomly like after I lose a run and mock me, and it would actually really piss me off.
I think his performance might not fit the character, but I think that the sound editing for his performance did a lot of the rest of the work that was needed to make it fit. Because I hear it, and I mean this positively. I don't think you guys will see it this way, but I hear it and I kind of think Cazador from Baldur's Gate 3, where he's just this like kind of pompous, like you can't take him seriously, but you have to because he's really powerful. Like I like that kind of archetype, and I think the voice fits. But the fact that he's like this godly figure, I think the sound editing brings it the rest of the way there for me.
Here's a fun fact: Kronos and Karen have the same voice actor.
that's funny,
That is funny.
and it makes sense.
It's actually awesome.
All right, guys, I hated the fucking ending. I hated it. It was so bad. I hated the
It was
ending.
very
I
bad.
agree. I agree. 100%.
It was hard garbage.
Yeah, it felt like a way to like really it was like them ham-fistedly trying to force in like a happy ending when it
It
didn't
was
need to be.
Yeah, it was way too Final Fantasy 14. And I say that as probably the only person here that really loves Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, that's
The
funny.
the feeling I got, like, because like again, this is one of those things where I feel like playing it through pre-patch has kind of like shaped my view on this. Like literally every single run, it's like death to Kronos
Yup.
and fucking time to kill time. Like all of that shit is really cool, and it makes me feel like I'm like a warrior witch adventurer. Like I have a goal. I am going to do this, and for some reason, like at the end of the game, it almost feels like there was this imbalance between what they were going for and what they expected the end product to be, because the ending of this game is the ending of Hades 1. Like, you know, you had Hades, who was the bad guy of Hades 1, and you like kind of befriend him, and it's not found family but like family reuniting, and that was like the whole purpose of Hades 1, so it all worked really well. And for whatever reason they didn't want to commit to the fact that you're killing your fucking uncle, grandpa,
Grandpa.
Grandpa.
Yeah, Grandpa.
grandpa, that you're killing your fucking grandpa, and they just had to commit to it being like that family reunification again. Like, why? It was so cool up until that point.
So I'm not gonna hold water for it too hard, but I will say that Melinoë does feel very strongly about Death to Kronos, and it's Zagreus that kind of pokes a hole in that whole thing. So
That's true.
I'm not advocating for the story beat itself, but I will say Melinoë definitely still wanted to kill the fuck out of Kronos at the end.
Then again, what am I gonna say? Because I like it when people commit to an idea. Do that and have Melinoë fucking break off from the family and be the new Witch of the Crossroads. Like, let that disagreement that she has stand out narratively, and it would have worked, I think.
Yeah, that would
They're
have been
way
cool.
too pussy to do that.
I don't
Yeah.
know
Way
if
too
that would have
pussy.
Yeah, because I don't think that would have gone over well with the normies.
They're
I think they
way
would
too
have
pussy to do
really
that.
hated
That'd be way too
that.
sick.
That would be fucking sweet though. That would be like a perfect lead into Hades 3.
Yeah. I don't know.
Exactly.
I think even having like a turn for Melinoë at the end would be sick. Like because Blueprints, I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about the ending to Blueprints where they just read the fucking real story. Like when you find room 46 and then they read what like the real story of like the blueprints is. Like that's so sick. So even for her to just be like life to Kronos and then that's like play credits or something, like I don't know. Like I think it could have still been done in the same shitty way that they did, but kind of have like this better turn for into it.
Like I said, the narrative of this game's a hot fucking mess in pretty much every way I can think of. And again, not having any sort of like narrative punchiness or like high emotional peaks in any of the narrative moments, like God, it really makes everything fall flat. Like even if they had done that with Melinoë, where I don't know, she had like a heel turn or something, who knows? It still it still would have fallen flat because everything for me up to that point was just like a huge nothing burger. I would have been like, oh, okay, well, I guess this is the DLC or the sequel now.
I I felt like, I don't know, a lot of the stuff that I did like narratively was the optional stuff where you like give people nectars and other things. You give them stuff to like unlock those cutscenes in the different areas you unlock in the hub. I actually like those a lot. The issue obviously is that they're staple to those idle game mechanics that are not enjoyable to interact with.
Yeah, and for me at least, it kind of had like a similar quality to Silk Song, where in Silk Song I regretted it, which was me just wanting to play the fucking game, so me skipping through all the dialogue. But the difference is, A, Silk Song had a fraction of the amount of dialogue that Hades 2 has, and B, the story was actually kind of neat once I like stopped to smell the flowers a little bit. Whereas I felt like this game, like the only part of this game that I liked was actually playing it. Because even though I feel like we've kind of spent about an hour and change now kind of shitting on the game, playing the game is a lot of fun. It's everything else that fucking sucks. And that ties into all of the narrative stuff in the camp because like I felt like it was almost punitive for me to give someone nectar and have to sit through a cutscene because it's just like, well, maybe this will give me something. I'm gonna press fucking right trigger now and hopefully I see keepsake unlocked. Oh, I didn't. Okay, mash through this bullshit again.
But yeah, I mean, going back to what Thomas said, like there is absolutely a lot positive to say about this. Like, despite everything we criticized with regards to the narrative, I actually really like the setting of this game. It's kind of cheating for me, and I don't expect you guys to share this opinion, but you put me in a time loop, I'm going to be happy. Some of my favorite games, Majora's Mask and Outer Wilds. I like time loops. That's it. Uh, but something I mentioned in the chat earlier is that I feel like with all of this, like when it comes to all of this grindy stuff that's just it gets in the way of the game more than anything, it's still important to consider the ratio of time that you spend doing that versus actually playing the game. And while it might feel like you're doing the grindy stuff for a lot longer than you actually are, it's still a bad thing because my god, does like talking to all of the people and farming your garden feel like it just takes goddamn forever. But like then you do like a half hour run and you realize you only spent like 5 or 10 minutes in the hub. So I feel like for me that ratio meant that I was still pretty happy, you know?
I feel like I
I
spent a
I
lot of time in the hub because and maybe this is just kind of autistic, but I would change out all of my loadout based on the weapon. I would change all my arcana, I would change all my keepsakes, and like that shit takes a little bit of time when you tack on the fact that you're also fucking having to do all this other bullshit too.
I only used one weapon, so I didn't have to do that.
I don't think you had to. Like, I think I would have been like at some point I just arrived on an Arcana loadout that I was just never gonna change. But like before I got to meta progression levels that were like powerful enough that it didn't fucking matter, I was doing that every run.
I think for me, like the issue with the hub is like, and you're right, Seth. Like in comparison to like the total amount of time you spend playing the game, it is a much smaller piece of that pie. But what I feel is like every time I saw like an exclamation mark over an NPC, like I had to talk to them because like there was the possibility that it would unlock a new incantation for the cauldron or something. But like when I would actually read the dialogue and it wasn't that important, I just wish that like maybe an easy fix is just to make less of them exclamation marks. It's just like those
Yeah.
dialogues would just appear if you felt
Mm-hmm.
like talking to them, and the exclamation marks should just be reserved specifically for the dialogues that unlock something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like especially going into this game after Hades 1, they could have done that because the expectation would be okay, there's going to be new dialogue with all of these guys after every run, so just make the exclamation mark pop up if they're going to give me an item or some shit or if it's important, right? And that's definitely not true.
Yeah, I think maybe one of my bigger points of contention that could have been easily solved is just how totally irrelevant and useless so many of those exclamation marks felt. Like if they really sliced down the amount of them and only saved them for things that were really important and not just Odysseus saying, I got a report from up here on the surface that blah, 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 blah. Like shit that just does not matter in any way, shape, or form. I think my experience in the hub would have been so much better.
Also, just want to say, as a big Odyssey fan, I think Odysseus was done dirty in this game.
And the fact that he sucks? What do you mean?
He just doesn't contribute
Yeah, he
anything.
Yeah.
does
Like
nothing.
not a single thing. He doesn't like blast cannons and during the Scylla fight or something like that. Like he's just there, and for some reason he's an outside observer, and for some reason they made him into like a commander instead of like a duplicitous, like tricky dude that he is in the Odyssey. I don't know. I don't get it. I do not see that vision that they had for.
I mean, I
Yeah,
agree with you, and I think it's not just limited to him. I think a lot of characters are lacking character.
I think it would have been cool. I know that, like, on the outside of this, they said that their goal was never to create some kind of like accurate representation of characters from the Greek myth. But I think if they had leaned into that a lot more with some of them, there would have been a lot more personality bleeding out of some of the characters.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair criticism too, because if you're going to rely on like a Greek mythology in that way, like you have a lot of wiggle room to like be true to that and make it interesting. I don't know.
I also think it's easy mode for writing. I think if you want people to like
Yeah.
characters, literally just pick characters from the things that people like. It's why like Sonic fan games and Pokemon fan games will do so much more numbers than if you made that same game but used like an original IP. It's like you did the easy mode part, like you took the shit. Now all you need to do is have a little bit of fun with it, and then you're gonna have a home run. And then they did the easy part and then just skipped the home run part.
Yeah, and you're 10,000% true, and it's even more true in like commercial games like this. But like my homebrew tabletop campaigns for Dungeons and Dragons, all of my favorite characters are just ones that I ripped out of a game or a movie or whatever.
Yeah.
That is universal.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is like you would think that like so much of Greek myth is like since it's kind of religious adjacent, like maybe some of those stories would be like watching paint dry, but literally the Greek myth books, I think I say books plural, I think there's two that Stephen Fry wrote for Greek mythology are so much better than
Oh yeah.
anything in this game. And all he's doing is just rewriting Greek myth into something like a little more um, uh, charismatic, maybe, I guess would be a word. Whereas
Less
this game,
problematic.
oh no, he
No.
keeps all the problematic aspects.
Oh boy.
He
But
embellishes it a little bit. He makes them fun. Like he takes a story that might
yeah,
be a little bit boring and kind of just punches it up a little bit, or looks for a philosopher who talked about it in like maybe a little more provocative way, and then that's the one that he would use.
yeah, so like he doesn't shy away from details, but he embellishes in a way that makes it so much more entertaining. Whereas in Hades, it's like you have actual personifications of these characters and you've taken creative liberties with them and you've given them all unique performances and scripts, but somehow you made them more boring.
Yeah,
Huh,
way more boring.
what the fuck?
The more we talk about it, the more I'm like, wow, Hades is split fiction. That's crazy.
Oh my
Oh
god.
shit, I have to change my
Guys.
guess.
Guys, my guesses are gonna be so fucking wrong.
I mean,
every
no,
single
but-
one.
Yeah, same.
I think the gameplay makes up for like the gameplay's really
Yeah.
good. I think the music is solid. I think the performances are good, even though I think they're ruined by the reverb and the filtering that they do. Like, there's definitely good things about it. I think the narrative is just so bad, and I think it's weird that it's bad because it's not. It's like it's not an original story. Like again, you had the framework there, just punch it up. All you need to do is add tags to everything. It's so easy. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Yeah, and I will say, like, we've basically just spent this entire conversation talking about the things I don't like rather than the things
Yeah.
I do like.
Yeah, I absolutely now that okay, have we gotten all of the negativity out? Can we start talking about how good the combat is?
Yeah, sure.
Combat and music. The music in this game is fucking incredible. If it were not for Expedition 33, this would be a shoo-in for the best soundtrack of this year and maybe the last couple of years, to be honest with you.
What was your favorite song?
God, I knew you were gonna ask. That's so hard. I have a few songs that I wrote down that I really liked. All three Skilla songs, although I did like the second and third song more than the first song. So maybe just those two. Um, but really, any song with lyrics, like the song that Artemis and Melinoë sing in the Village, is cool. The credits song is really good. I think that's Echo and Narcissus. I forget.
It's Artemis and Apollo.
Oh, okay. Well, shit, I was way the fuck off. But as far as songs without lyrics, I think my favorite song, and one that I didn't realize was so fucking good until I went to listen to it while I was listening to the whole soundtrack, because again, the mixing was so fucked up and I had the music volume really low, is Kronos's song, the first phase specifically.
Oh,
That
yeah.
song is a fucking bibbity bop.
Yeah, that guitar riff is great. I think for me, I have two different answers. I have one for my favorite song to listen to, like when I'm at work or whatever, and then one for actually like while I'm playing the game. My favorite to listen to outside of what Thomas already mentioned is the Polyphemus song. I think that song is fucking great by
Yeah.
itself. And my favorite one while I'm playing is the one that plays in Tartarus. Dude, that song gets me fucking going. Like my build is fully running. I'm dashing all over the place. There's a million laser beams like following after me. I'm dashing behind the shield guy to hit him, and the is going off. Like fuck yeah.
Yeah, that song is also fucking dope.
My favorite song is the second Scylla song. I like it more than the first and the third. And I'm also just a huge sucker for lyrics in video game boss fight songs in general because of Final Fantasy XIV, where they have like 3 of them every expansion. So more of those is always a plus for me.
Yeah, gun to my head, the second Skilla song is my favorite for sure. It's so good. I've been listening to that shit on repeat in the car, like while Mary and I are like going out to dinner or whatever.
Yeah, I think I'm not as high on the soundtrack as you guys are. Like, I think it's solid. I think the Scylla one is the most memorable. I don't know if it's if it's my favorite. I don't really know if I have a favorite. There was a lot of songs where I felt like they were almost there. Like the Tartarus one that you said, Seth, I think is like it has good parts, and then it like there's only a few songs to me that feels like they're consistently good. One of them is the one that Tom said, like the Chrono song is really good. The Scylla songs are really good, but then like other songs feel like they have good parts, but then they're like the Olympus song is like really good for like a third of it. There's like one section that's sick, and then it just
Yep.
kind of fades into the background. Like so, it's inconsistent for me.
I was about to say because like I mean I'm glad that you mentioned it, but the Mount Olympus song is just one that I just didn't like at all, or maybe I just didn't hear the one good part.
I think yeah, I think there's like 85% of the song that's like whatever. And like there's a lot of songs also that are layered. They do like the video game theory layering where like when nothing's going on, only the bass line plays and shit like that. So they're designed like that.
Oh,
And
so you have to do something for it to become
exactly
interesting.
like when you kill all the enemies, it's all the instruments drop and then the bass line just going like boom 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 boom. And then when you go into a room of combat, then all the instruments kick back in. So it's doing that kind of like layering. So like that's really cool from like a design aspect, but yeah, like for me, I think that kind of creates like inconsistencies in sections.
Yeah, I can agree with that actually.
It does surprise me a little bit that you're not higher on the soundtrack after what you mentioned about I forget what you called it last episode, orchestral fatigue.
Yeah, I think this game is like rock music fatigue. I think it just kind of took like what rock music did like 40 years ago and then just brought it back and then it was like, oh yeah, rock music is cool. Like this is where rock music should be now. It should be in like epic moments rather than just French horns and tubas and shit. But yeah, I think it definitely has like good songs in it for sure.
Yeah, I think for me this soundtrack was always like destined to be a hit because if you go and read like Darren Korb's um, influences, he's got like I think I mentioned this in the Discord channel, but like fucking Ozma, this like stupid Weezer clone band from like the early 2000s that I loved when I was like 12. He mentions fucking Wolfpack. Like there was no way I wasn't gonna love this soundtrack just because of the music that this dude likes.
I also just want to mention, I think that what this game does with the Scylla boss, where like a certain component of the music will be emphasized, and as you kill different bosses, they'll drop out of the song, and like by the end, it'll just be Scylla singing really loudly because you killed the other two players. I think
Yeah, I like that.
reactivity like that in this game is really cool.
Yeah, that dynamism is really cool.
My favorite reactivity there is pretty similar to that, where I don't know how many times it takes you to beat her, but at some point she'll be like, "I'm working on a new song," and it's called "I'm gonna claw out your eyes, then drown you to death," and it's like, haha, that's kind of a funny throwaway line. And then the next time you go and fight her, they're actually singing that fucking song. I actually
Yeah.
thought that was awesome.
I also think like as the sirens they are, it's really cool how you hear their song through Oceanus, and it's just like,
Yeah.
come closer,
Mhm.
come closer. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, that stuff's awesome.
Yeah, they nailed that for sure. I mean, I think a reason why I'm not as high on the soundtrack for this game is because I think there's not an emotional tie-in to the soundtrack like there is for Expedition 33 or even for Blueprints. Like I think Blueprints soundtrack is fucking simple, but it's just like fucking beautiful to listen to.
Yeah, I feel like the biggest miss there was the hit that Hades 1 had, where you reunite Orpheus and Eurydice, and you get
Yeah.
that great song in the credits.
Exactly.
And this game felt like it needed to do that, and you get Artemis and Apollo for some reason.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think that that's a big thing that keeps me from like being like, holy shit, I'm infatuated with it. Like Expedition 33, because there's a lot of songs there that like just have such good narrative tie-ins and such good like emotional hits that the song is an emotional song, but also like how it's used is an emotional moment. So it's just like perfection.
Yeah, I agree with what you guys are saying. I think on the average, Hades 2 as a soundtrack is fucking amazing, and again, on average, it's better than the first game. But I think Hades 2 really was missing a "Good Riddance," the song from the first game. That
Mhm.
song you're talking about with Eurydice. That song is a fucking modern video game classic. It is so good.
I thought you were talking about the what is it, the Green Day song? Something unpredictable, or whatever that song's called.
That's gonna be the next song that Scylla sings when you fight it. And it'll start with the fuck.
Yeah, no, I think you guys are right that I think the Scylla world tie-in stuff is super sick. Like I didn't really kind of give it the credit that it deserved until you kind of mentioned it of like, oh yeah, like the whole theming of that area is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I would actually fucking love, like, I guarantee you, if they had did like a full concept album with all of the band members or whatever from the Skilla boss fight, I would fucking listen to that shit forever. That would be on the Spotify playlist for the rest of my life.
Really, I think that I think Scylla has the most character out of any character in the game.
Yeah, I agree.
It's Scylla and
Yeah, for
Kinda
sure.
true.
Dora. I think it's Scylla and Dora are like the two most like character-filled characters.
And I like Arachne.
Yeah, she's good. I think she feels underutilized. She doesn't stick out as much.
She's really inconsequential, but I do like
Yeah.
her.
I agree. I could definitely say that for a lot of them too. Like I like Hermes. I think Hermes is fun. I think he could have been more fun, but I think he's like fine for what he is. But like inconsequential is the right word. Like that doesn't feel like they really have like a hit.
Yeah, I really didn't like a lot of the like interstitial like encounter characters like your Echoes, Narcissus, like a lot of those again outside of Arachne obviously, which I've already mentioned, kind of fell flat for me.
Kind of surprises me you guys don't like Narcissus. I thought, at least in terms of his performance, it was really good.
I didn't dislike Narcissus.
Or let me
I did.
to be clear, it's really good in like in a noir Spider-Man kind of way.
That's funny. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, where it's like
It's
you're
a
taking
little
him
hammy.
seriously. Yeah, it's very hammy. He knows the character he's playing. He's kind of just having fun with it. Everyone knows who Narcissus is, so it's just kind of fun to see that interpretation.
Yeah, I think I didn't like the hamminess of it.
I think it depends on the character, because like Solomouse or whatever, the guy that you really hate, Jordan. I actually like him a lot.
I mean, I didn't want to bring it up because I don't think it's productive for me to just to shit on it. But yeah, like I can understand liking characters like that. I think it's air quotes immersion breaking to put in a real life meme sound every time you talk to a character. I think that that's a terrible decision almost objectively, but past that, I think it's totally valid to like that character.
That fucking like the cymbal crash that would
Oh,
happen. Yeah, man, that shit was so annoying.
Yeah. It'd be like if you heard the Vine boom, like if you talked to Hecate and it was just like boom every time that you talked to her, it'd be like, why? This is so weird.
So we've established that Jordan fucking hates every character voiced by Darren Korb.
It's not true because I think he did really well as Zagreus
Oh
in
fuck!
the first game.
I was
and
gonna
in this
quiz
game.
you and see if you realized that was him, or
Oh,
if
of
it was
course.
just him, fucking Narcissus
No.
and fucking Skelly. Because
No, I
yeah,
think he did
Zagreus,
great as
Zagreus
Zagreus.
is his performance is really good for Zagreus.
I think the other two are just hammy. I think that's why I don't like them because it sounds like he's being hammy. I think Narcissus is too. He cares too much about you being there. Is another thing that bothers me. Like actual Narcissus wouldn't give a fuck that you're there. Like some of the interactions should just be like, you shouldn't even be able to talk to him.
Too enamored with himself.
Exactly. That's what that like. It bothered me that he cared so much about you being there.
It would be kind of a funny interaction if, like, sometimes you tried to get a boon from him and you just didn't get anything because
Yeah.
he's so obsessed. That would be cool.
Character.
That-
There you go.
that would be funny.
I think
Character.
that would have pissed me off. If
That's
I
the way he's supposed to piss
Yeah.
you off. He's
Okay,
so
that's
involved.
fair.
No, yeah, like this was so long ago, so I don't remember how it plays out in a first run. But like the first time you get there, he's so obsessed that he doesn't give you anything. It's like, well, what the fuck? This was useless. But if you give him a nectar, then he'll start giving you stuff because, like, oh, you gave the narcissist something, right?
Oh, I guess I missed that because I always gave a nectar to like someone that I saw for the first time just to get the keepsake.
No, but I'm saying that's how, like, I think that's how it should be to.
Oh,
emphasize that
I thought you
character.
were saying that is how. It
No.
works. Okay.
Yeah, no, I would have liked that. I thought that would have been cool.
So that's what I think. Like, that's why I don't think it's a good idea to take the lineage of these characters and then not like try to do something with it. Because I think if you took that part, then that's the fun part to do something with it.
Yeah, I will say that, like, in that specific instance for what you're talking about with Narcissus, it would not flow well with the rest of the game at fucking all, and kind of what their core philosophy is. But I think in a vacuum, like stuff like that, where maybe some of that reactivity from the characters is kind of hidden behind some sort of like additional layer of shit to do, like a pseudo puzzle almost.
Yeah.
To help like lean into their character a little bit, I think that would have been cool. I'm not gonna like rewrite this game because there's already a shit ton of content in it, but I think that would have been neat.
Like Hades 1 did that with Orpheus and Eurydice, so like they know they can do it and that it works.
Yeah.
So I don't see why they didn't do it.
True.
Yeah, I mean, I think it breaks up the monotony of see character, give character thing, never give character thing again because you don't care about the additional dialogue they're going to give you because all you want to do is get all the keepsakes. Like if you had to do different things, and like let's say to get Narcissus's thing, you had to push him into the water, and then he dropped the thing out of his pocket or something. Like it doesn't need to just be these consistent interactions with every character.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things they could have done to really make the personalities of their characters pop a little bit more.
Yeah. Like I said, I think they're really riding on the fact that they took the lineage rather than writing characters that have a lineage.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I do want to say when it comes to the boons from the different gods, I think all of those do a really good job of like representing that god in their boons. Like how Aphrodite's make you want to be close to all of your targets, or like obviously the more like elemental ones, like Poseidon, you're just blasting waves all over the place. Hephaestus, you're blowing shit up, like with the hammer anvil sound effects. Like all of that's really, really cool.
I agree for sure.
Yeah, they did do a good job with that. Although there are some exceptions.
If anything, I would say there's not enough crazy identity with those things. Like if everything feels kind of incremental, like to compare to Isaac, sometime in Isaac, if you get one item, like the game just explodes. Like I feel like this game didn't really have that kind of like, oh shit, I got the Hephaestus legendary one. Now I'm in a wheelchair and I go 800% move speed or something,
Now I'm in a wheelchair, so I go 800% move speed.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's crazy. You would never forget that. You would keep that with you for the rest of your life. Me and Tom play a game called like Monster Party. I don't even remember what the game's fucking called, but I remember that you can get a toilet familiar that auto shoots around for you. Like I don't remember what the game's called at all. Apocalypse Party. That's what it's called.
No, that would have been sweet if you fucking get some legendary Aphrodite thing and it just fucking like strips off all of your clothes.
Exactly.
No, you should just ride her around. Like those are the crazy things that they should have done.
I agree. Like I think that's like for a legendary boon specifically, that's the kind of ideas that you should have. It shouldn't just be like the white boon, but the numbers are higher. Like I didn't like that.
I do
see
want
what you're
to.
saying.
I can understand that though, because I mean that's like some scope creep shit to try.
It'd be really cool in a novel, but like
it's 82 and they have like at least $400 million. I don't care.
Apocalypse
Party, give me a toilet.
I see where you're coming from, but at the same, regardless of scope creep, I think that what they do have in the game looks fucking great. Like I think all of the Ares effects, how it changes the look of your weapons or whatever. I don't even remember if Hades 1 did that. I think there were effects, but not as severe as this game. But all of them look amazing. They look so good.
Oh, you know what I will say that they did an amazing job with as well with upgrades or like in-game upgrades is the weapon upgrades, like the hammers or whatever the hell, I forget what they're called, but every single one of those. Hammer. Yeah. Those, like, I was always excited to loot one of those things because I knew my entire build was about to fucking turn on its head.
Yeah, exactly. And those types of boons, like the hammers and to a lesser extent Selene, like those are those boons that I would consider like the must-haves. Not that I need a specific one, but I felt like I needed any of them because if you didn't have one of them, you felt like you had like you're playing Street Fighter, but like with 2 less buttons than the other guy.
I mean, that's exactly what Selene or Selene, whatever you want to say it is. That's exactly what that was. Like you're missing your ultimate. Like you don't have supers. Like so, give me my super, please. So,
really, I never felt like Selene was that important. Like to where I felt like I couldn't win if I didn't find her. I definitely felt that way about the Daedalus hammers.
In the same way that Justin Wong could beat my ass without a jab button, but like you still want the jab button.
Okay, fair enough.
I will say, although I agree, like the Daedalus hammers are awesome. They were great in Hades 1. They're even better in this game. Same goes with the Selene upgrades. I might have been the only one to see much of this, but the alternate moveset aspects do not feel like they were... The Daedalus hammer upgrades of them do not feel like they were designed with the alternate movesets in mind.
I was leaving that out because I don't know if you noticed this, but actually... with the majority of those alternate movesets, they keep the same upgrades, except some of them just get removed because they don't work with the moveset. Like there's one for sure with the aspect of Panopi or whatever, the Ignium hidden upgrade. and I forget what it is, but it says something like your specials last 2 seconds longer and gain more damage with duration, something along those lines. But obviously, that would not work with that weapon moveset, so it's just straight up not an option. They just fucking deleted it from that moveset. I think that's kind of whack.
Yeah, and there's like some of the ones for the clip that I mentioned, it auto fires your primary with the torches, right? So you just have these balls flying around you constantly, but you still have this weird Omega move where it just does like a Kamehameha for some reason. Uh and like half of the Daedalus upgrades only upgrade that Kamehameha, even though you're like never doing it, because the entire idea with that weapon is that you're like dashing around, hitting people with the balls, like you're fucking Aurelion Sol from League of Legends. And yeah, I don't like criticizing it because the alternate weapons are really cool and they're all I started using in the late game, but it just sucks that the Daedalus hammer upgrades weren't really built with those in mind, it felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Even though they still did feel like obscenely powerful most of the time.
That being said, because I didn't grind enough to unlock these alternate movesets, but like I thought that the variety, even with the base aspects, were actually pretty good. Like when I first got that new aspect, I forgot what the weapon it was, but it like comboed with which animal familiar you had. I thought stuff like that was like really cool. Speaking of animal
Yeah.
familiars, was there a reason to not pick the cat? I felt like the cat was just the best one because it was the only one that let you ignore something that was a mechanical challenge, which is timing the fishing. Whereas all the other ones just like let you skip an animation.
I
Well,
liked the frog. The frog gives you more max health.
Wait, what?
all of them
Oh,
have like actual mechanical components, yeah. Like
oh, I didn't know. I didn't
Doesn't
know
the cat
that.
make
I
you
think
attack faster or something?
Oh, is that written somewhere? I didn't know they did any of that. All I
it's in
thought
there
they did
somewhere.
was let you gather stuff more efficiently.
Like the cat, for example, gives you crit chance. The frog will like block projectiles. I actually really liked having the frog for the first boss in the underworld because he can block the polymorph from the first boss, and you just don't have to worry about
Oh man,
Quick correction. It's the raven that gives you crit. The cat only makes it so that when your death defiance procs, you get 20 extra health from it, which is a big ol' fart noise.
I would have never noticed any of these things unless you told me.
The only reason why I even noticed the cat had anything because it had an aura beneath its feet, and I'm like Diablo 2 pilled, so I was like, what the fuck? And it has the same aura beneath its feet as Uh-Oh does, but I don't know what that means. Like I just know I know it's doing something, but I don't know what the fuck it was.
Wait, you can upgrade them?
it.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. I'm
I
looking
didn't
at the
even unlock them
wiki.
until my final run.
Yeah, I'm
So-
looking at the wiki, and there's some that I didn't even know existed.
There were some that I saw in my runs, but I could never recruit them, even though I made like a million of those biscuits. Like there was one in the upper path. It was like a ferret or something, and I'm like, "Can I please just send you to my hub?" But I basically could only pet it, and then it just goes away. And I was just like, I don't even know how to unlock these animals. Like, is there something I'm missing?
I don't know. Animal familiars felt like they were cool but unnecessary and only put in the game because you're a witch.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of them. Like they were fine, but yeah, it's kind of unnecessary.
I love things like that from a flavor perspective, but I hate how they handled, like we talked about for an hour and a half, the unlocking of them. Basically, like what
Boy,
Ben said, of like if you ran into the cat but you didn't have the concoction unlocked and you pet the cat, doesn't matter. You need to have the concoction unlocked, and then you got to go find the cat, and then when you pet the cat, it goes back to your camp. Like, why couldn't they just have them all queue up? So when you unlock it, now you have a cacophony of fucking animals to pick from. I don't know.
Yeah, that system, I'm gonna rate it mid out of 10.
I love it.
forgettable.
Yeah, when I brought it up, I really only really like it in the context of that one aspect that uses them with the weapon moveset, where it like creates like a little laser in between you two, and you can like kind of like run into enemies and have them run into that laser and die.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. And I do agree with what you were saying on the outset, which is that the weapon aspects do feel cool. Like I actually, I really wanted to like the axe, but it felt so dog shit. But I did really like the aspect of Thanatos, the like fucking scythe axe. I thought that one was actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's the one I used the most. I used all of the axe ones except that base one, which I agree with you. It's just like it's kind of like the base daggers where like I never want to use these weapons, but the other aspects are actually pretty cool.
I actually loved the base daggers.
Really?
Yeah, I thought they were great, but
Oh
I
yeah,
also
they're
liked
amazing.
I like to backstab things, and I also like taking things that proc on attack. Like it was awesome with like Zeus chain lightning or like Hestia's scorch on hit, like shit like that.
Bro, one of the late game, I can't remember what the weapon is called, the skull. One of the late game alternate movesets just turns that thing into a fucking machine gun, and oh my god, it makes it so much fun with like the Zeus procs and stuff. Like you get the Zeus proc plus the Artemis proc plus a bunch of curses. It's fun.
Yeah,
It
stuff that
definitely,
attacks really fast is awesome.
and hearing you talk about it, Seth, it's definitely like a game that's designed for like you to play only Hades 2 for like 200 hours because it feels like there's a lot of like love in the design that's behind a lot of time that's set in.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
the problem is that like all of that stuff, like it's like there's no reason for it to be hidden behind
Oh,
the like
sure.
mountain of shit that it is. Like there's just absolutely no solid reason why I could justify why that is.
I just didn't want to keep shitting on the meta
I
thing. I
mean,
just wanted to kind of
Yeah.
say like it is cool that
well,
if you
it's
put the time in, they are like, here's the reward for the time that you've
I
contributed to us.
I guess, but I feel like I felt just as rewarded playing it by fucking cheat engineering every goddamn resource into it than I did having to fucking play the game for an extra 150 hours.
Yeah, and
Go ahead,
yeah. I
that's
Ben.
mean,
and
it's no good.
yeah, I think I forget if you already mentioned this or not, Seth, but like there was also like the whole aspect about how you played the game originally, where like you played a lot more of the early access, probably like all of it, right? So you experienced everything as it was added per patch, so you got to progress in all that meta progression, kind of like if you were playing something like World of Warcraft. So it's a lot different when someone just buys the game when it actually comes out and then has to do all the grind in like one like playthrough essentially, like one big ass
Yeah,
chunk.
yeah, and this is one of the really weird things because there were so like every single Reddit thread talking about this game was like, "Oh, I got the early access for Hades 1, and so when the game came out, it just didn't feel very good, so I'm going to wait to buy this game until it actually comes out." And I feel like for this game, I like it sounds like from you guys that's just going to create a worse experience because now you feel like you just have this slog of shit that you need to wade through in order to get to the good stuff, whereas like I was able to spread out my experience of the game piecemeal over like how long was the development of this game, over a year.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. think I think if I had played this game like you, I would have had a much better experience because like
Yeah.
I bought it day one of early access, I think, and I played it for 5 hours or something, and I was like, I'm gonna put this down until it 1.0s because like I just want to play it as a finished product. And then when 1.0 came out, I actually just deleted my save because I was like, I'm gonna start over, and I wish I hadn't done that. And yeah, I think if I had played it piecemeal like that, rather than trying to cram everything into 2 weeks or whatever, I might have enjoyed it more. But I feel like my opinion of the mountainous fucking climb that is the grind in this game probably wouldn't have changed very much.
I also just want to say quickly that I think it was really cool that the like wait for 1.0 was baked into the narrative because you would get to the end of the run and it's like, well, we just need more time or go kill some time. And it's like, oh, time theme. That's cool.
Yeah, I think like to build on what Seth said, I think like the coolest character part of the game is like where you pause in the Kronos fight and he's like, "You're pausing." Like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
whatever, I'll allow it this time. Like that reactivity. Go
I
ahead,
have to
man.
shit on that a little bit. So I can't remember, it was like the last hatch where we were talking about like games respecting your time. You The things that were piecemealed into his incantation unlocks are ridiculous. Like specifically related to what you're talking about, you were not allowed to pause in that fight until you unlock the invocation that let you pause. Otherwise, Cronus would still attack you when you were paused.
Wait, it does that too?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's I
Yeah, that's
okay,
bad.
so I knew that that invocation he would still move at full speed if you use the slow time buff
Yeah.
from Selene. I thought that's all that incantation did. I didn't know he did shit while you were paused. That's crazy.
Any game that doesn't have a hard pause in it can go fuck itself. Full stop across the board for me.
Yeah, that actually pissed me off because I was fighting Kronos like maybe for the first time, and Mary got home from work and she like came in and was trying to talk to me, and I pressed pause and I was like, wait, what the fuck? Wait, hang on, Mary, shut the fuck up.
I think that's a kind of committal to a theme that I really like, even if it's annoying. I
It
think
is
that's really
cool. The
Yeah,
idea is cool, but the anger that it incites in me is infinite.
Yeah, I didn't hate it once I realized what was going on, but it like because I do like when games catch me off guard and do things that like I'm just not going to expect them to do, and that was definitely one of those times, and I actually did like it.
And it would also be like completely different if it was like, some like if it was like fucking Silk Song, or like if it was just some game where there was no thematic tie to why he's doing that, like it's just being bullshit to be bullshit. I like the fact that they do it for a thematic purpose. It's very
Yeah. I didn't mean to sound too negative because it is a really cool idea. It just can be very, very inconvenient.
I'm with you, Ben. I think it's unforgivable. I think it would be like putting a rainbow in a boss fight and being like, we're not putting colorblind options because it's part of the narrative. Deal with it. And it's like, no, dude, it's not how pausing works.
Because I think it was fine that like he mocked you when you paused. I thought that was
Yes,
cool,
exactly.
and I
Like
felt like that could have been enough by itself.
that's way more than enough for him to be like, what you could do this too, or like anything that he says, or anything like to have actual gameplay implications of you can't pause. It means you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I can see that side of it too. Like if you just pause and he talks shit to you, I think that probably would have been overall better than just disabling pause.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I was like a middle-aged dad and got disrupted by my kid,
Yeah, exactly.
and had to pause the game and died for it, and I can only play like this one run every night, I would definitely be pissed.
Exactly.
But I still think it's cool.
Yeah, I won't defend it too hard, but I will just say that I do think it's cool.
Before we talk about like best portrait and worst portrait, I figured out there's certain portraits that do this thing that like bugs the shit out of me, and they all feel really uncanny. And I finally figured it out after like 3 days of thinking about it. Certain portraits have weird lighting on their eyes and nose that make it look really uncanny. Like the light source is really weird, so that only their nose is illuminated. Like Celine's one where she looks super fucking weird. I can go look at the list. Celine's definitely one. But yeah, I don't know if you guys had this experience, but there was a couple portraits that just had weird lighting on them that like just completely broke them for me.
I see exactly what you're talking about. I'm looking at thumbnails of all of them, and all of them look like they have like fucking sunscreen on their nose.
It's really weird, like because the lighting source for all of these portraits changes, but like whatever ones have that like top down, and for some reason their nose, it's like they have like a Pinocchio nose, and the light only hits their nose, and it looks so weird.
I can see what you're saying.
Oh my god! Look at the one for Odysseus.
Yeah, Odysseus is crazy. Selene is crazy. Nemesis is crazy. Oh my god, dude!
Am I the only person that just
I'm upset
doesn't...
that you said this.
I don't know. I'm looking at them. I don't really see. Maybe it's because I'm not seeing them in game. I'm just seeing like the straight up JPEGs on the wiki. I don't see a problem with any of these.
It's just the nose. It's literally just the fact that their
I'm
nose
looking
is
at the
illuminated.
nose.
Look at it's
Yeah.
Melinoë, Selene, Odysseus, Moros kind of, but the color doesn't really matter because like the shading's good on top of his head with the same color, so it's not as jarring as the other ones. Nemesis, I think she has really good facial structure, so it doesn't matter that much that she also has that problem. Like I think Nemesis is a super sick design.
That being said, with Nemesis, the light source on her portrait looks a little fucky.
That's
like
that's
how
the
it's hitting
thing.
her face.
That's the thing. Like I think the light source is like it's all over the place and it's strange because like it's clearly a professional artist, so like they clearly think of this, but like I don't understand how like this happened. Basically,
Yeah, well, I will say this is not like detracting too much from my overall like opinion of the art and the portraits in this game, but that is like a really fucking funny thing to point out.
it took me a while to figure out why there were certain portraits that I didn't like either, and it's like, oh, this is why because like they have like the highlights on their nose, and it's weird.
Yeah, it's like they all stood for like their fucking school like class photos, and the photographer was just like moving the fucking light around like in a 360 at like some arbitrary angle before they took their picture.
And somehow it only illuminated their nose like they're wearing like a hat or something.
Yeah, like it's either like it's like 45 degrees to their right or their left or some shit. It's fucking strange.
All of that being said, these portraits, they're works of art. Oh my
Oh,
god,
yeah.
they look so
Besides
good.
that,
Every single.
once I nailed that down, I was like, oh yeah, they're so sick. And like when I can look past that, I'm like, they're so good.
Yeah, I love all the portraits. I'll go to war for them. I actually did a little bit on the Steam forums. There was a thread by some dude that said, like, are these AI generated? I went off on that dude.
That's funny.
I
That's
will
very
Yeah, like
say the portraits are really good, but I also feel like they don't necessarily like meaningfully differentiate themselves from Hades 1 too much. Like the style stayed the exact same, which is not a bad thing, but at the same time I wish they would have, I don't know, tried
I
something new.
I disagree,
I
and I
don't think I agree.
disagree. I disagree in the sense of I think Hades 1 had better portraits for most of the characters, specifically for Artemis and Demeter. I think they got worse.
I
I
think
would agree with those.
And I think Artemis was like a full redesign, which is crazy. Demeter still looks the same, but she looks like battle ready Demeter now. Like Artemis looks like a different character, and I don't understand if there's I don't know if there's a lore reason or if the artist was just like, let's draw him different.
I mean, I'm only speaking from the main gods right now, like the moon gods. But I just really like that they went with the idea, like the way it differentiates itself from Hades 1 for me is that idea of like they are at war, they are being besieged, and so all of them like fucking bro. We were talking about how naked Aphrodite is, but she actually put clothes on compared to the first game. She got some armor, she got a spear, and like all of them have that like kind of more armored quality to them that I think makes it stand out compared to Hades 1 for me.
I'm gonna
I
be
mean,
honest.
sure.
Hades 1 was so long ago for me, I don't even remember what the differences are.
I had to go look.
Yeah, I mean that's just the thing, right? Like I agree that the thematics of the portraits do line up fine or like better even. It's just that like the overall fidelity and style is just like it's kind of samey. I mean, this game does have kind of a sameness problem. I'm gonna be honest, but I mean, let's be real. The portraits for Hades 1 are so fucking good that even if they did decide to basically crib the same style for Hades 2, it's not really a problem.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just more like a. I wish they would have gone a little more ham, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have a style problem at all. I like that it's a style. I don't like that there's like redesigns of established characters. Like Artemis having a complete change is kind of weird. I think Chaos's complete change is cool because like that's what the character is. I also think that Chaos might be my favorite portrait in the game. Um,
Same.
but yeah,
Yeah,
like
Chaos is
the
awesome.
one that really bothered me was Artemis, and I think it's just because I like Hades 1 Artemis is probably my favorite portrait. So then for it to be kind of like this, like to me, reductive version of what was the Hades 1 one, I was disappointed. But I think
I
overall it's sick. I think Persephone's fucking awesome too.
I feel like with Artemis, to me, it's less of like an artistic thing, and it's more of a characterization, and that drove the like how they decided to design the portrait because she's much more like close to Melinoë in this game than Zagreus, so she has that kind of sister-ish relationship to her, like especially in Dog, you see that, and so her portrait just feels like literally feels a lot closer, a lot more human compared to the first game,
True.
which makes it less like stylistic, I guess.
I think I agree with what you're saying, but then I think that that clashes with the thematics that you said because I would think that the goddess of the hunt would be the one that's most ready to fuck things up. So the fact that they switched her to kind of like this more familial role when she should be the one who's like the frontline fucker, I think that that kind of makes it like thematically clash even more than before
Yeah,
you brought that
yeah.
up.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I don't agree with that
Yeah.
characterization.
Yeah, fair enough. And yeah, Chaos is a really good shout. I'm looking at the Chaos portrait for Hades 2 right now. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Reminds me of like it's like a cross between Delirium and Desire from Sandman. Looks fucking sweet.
Yeah.
And Chaos from Hades 1 was also sick. I just think that this was a redesign in a way that also like kept the essence of sickness with it. Like Cerberus too, but Cerberus is like the same thing. Like, yeah. They all fucking rule though. Like I have no issues with any of them.
Also, just want to give out a quick art shout out to everything about Prometheus. Like, at least
Oh
in his
yeah.
portrait, I just think that like the blue flame fist that he have is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
He's one of the few bosses that has the like, oh, I'm dying and I get a portrait thing, and that one looks really cool. And then like the actual animations of his attacks are, wow, beautiful.
Oh yeah. I think Prometheus is my favorite boss. It's just
I
like
would agree.
top to bottom design. Like I think Scylla has like the charm of the song, so I think that's kind of what's big for her. But like I think between like Ben Starr doing the voice and the visuals of it, and then like when you beat him and they're dead, and then just what like Prometheus is and kind of the characterization of him, I think he's
Yeah.
the best package.
Yeah, Scylla and Prometheus are my favorite. Scylla is a fucking nightmare when you get into like higher fear stuff. I felt like she's like the fucking hardest boss in the fucking game almost.
For me, nothing touches uh, the first boss of the second run with the Valve rivals. Who is it? The giant and
Hecate?
Medea?
Polyphemus
No,
and Medea.
Pol-
Yeah,
Cyclops?
Polyphemus and Medea. That was the hardest shit in the game for me. Way harder than anything else.
My favorite boss is probably Prometheus as well, but I have to balance that with the fact that I think he's the worst Vow of Rivals boss. So,
Why do you say that?
I mean, like, let me put it this way: I think the best Vow of Rivals bosses are the ones that like kind of transform it into a completely different boss. So, like Hades 1, the first boss on Vow of Rivals, fucking awesome. Turns one boss into 3 bosses.
Yeah.
That combines all the mechanics you saw before then. Sick. First boss of the Underworld in this game, Hecate. Literally just turns her into an actual boss compared to the fucking tutorial boss that
Yeah.
she is without Vow of Rivals. But Prometheus, it's the same boss, like identical, and you just have Heracles being an annoying whirlwind bitch. Like it's just not really. It turns the fight into like what feels like a one-on-one duel with the fucking Titan of Foresight into just a clusterfuck mess where like I'm not even gonna try to dodge anything anymore. I'm either killing you or you're killing me. Let's find out.
Yeah, that was the same problem I had with like Chronos because I felt like all of my fucking Underworld runs, whatever the hell it's called, like I was basically taking no damage up until I got to Chronos, and then it was, well, shit. I hope I have like 250 health because otherwise I'm just gonna fucking die.
Also, do still want to give a shout out to the Narcissus portrait because I think that one's also really pretty.
Oh yeah,
fitting.
In my opinion, there are no bad ones. I think they're all really good. I like fucking Eris's portrait a lot. Um, like
I could say
the only one that may be uh, a step below the rest, and I think it's kind of supposed to be maybe, is Dora's, and that's not even. I'm not even saying it's bad.
She is like a
I
pretty
love
good body
Dora's.
though. Like
I
when
love
she turns
Dora's.
into
I kinda
like
like Dora.
her like haunting mode, I thought that was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
Reminds me a
see,
lot of like
I
Fate
do-
Stay Night actually.
I do like the like oscillation between her like going Super Saiyan ghost on you, but the portrait itself, in comparison to the rest, I don't think kind of holds up as well.
To me, I just like the more like kind of intentionally minimalist design that she has that helps her kind of stand out. She's a little bit more animated, like in contrast to that. I feel like some of my least favorite are probably Echo. Like I just kind of expected more from Echo, and obviously Skelemaeus, meme character, whatever.
Echo as a portrait.
Yeah, it's just like it's like very monochrome, right? Because she's like kind of like a statue-ish kind of hue,
I like
kind
Echo.
of like
it
this
is.
gray.
She's got
It is
like
kind of weird.
balancing like rocks and shit on her head.
From a goonery angle, I do want to give a shout out while we're on the portraits of all the Bath ones. Because I'm a real sucker for like letting your hair down, and also I'm a sucker for like really defined collarbones. So like stuff like Nemesis is like the goated
Oh,
shit
you're
for me.
screwed, buddy.
That's
You are
awesome.
screwed.
That's very funny.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, I have two weird nitpicks with portraits. One is Medea's cleavage makes no sense. It looks like she has like a bump on her chest, and
Oh,
the
like
other
the
one is
uni boob?
yeah, like I don't understand what that is. It looks like like she got punched in the sternum and now it's like swelled up. It doesn't look like tits. Weird. And Dionysus's dick doesn't look like a dick. He looked like he just shoved 3 rocks into his fucking into his underwear. Like there's no dick in there. It just looks like it's a boulder. It doesn't make any sense.
That dude does have hella bulge.
But it's not a dick. Is my
I mean,
problem.
Here's what it is. He's got massive balls, tiny dick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I hate that. It bothers the
It
shit out of me.
is strange.
When I looked at it, it was like I wish it just looked like a snake. I wish it was just like a snake design or something in there and like wrapped around like a poop
I think,
emoji.
to be fair to them, I think they got it. They drew it the way they did to like allow them to get away with it, basically.
Yeah, that's true. You
I mean,
can't
I look at
just draw like a
Aphrodite.
straight up fucking banana hammock on this dude.
I look at Aphrodite and they're drawing, what do we call it? Like thigh pussy? What did somebody call it? Had a word? Mound pussy? One of you guys had a
Wasn't
name
I
for
call
it.
it the mound, the pussy mound.
No, what
Yeah,
the
pussy
fuck?
mound.
The pussy
It's
mound.
like the top of the thigh. Like Aphrodite, like is basically as much as you could show. So why can't Dionysus just have his fucking dick just wrapping around his leg, basically?
It would sell too many copies. They can't do it. They wouldn't know what to do with the money.
ESRB. Although this game was released on Steam, so who really gives a fuck?
I mean, with all the Visa stuff, though, you kind of have to give a little bit of a fuck.
Yeah, that is true.
Listen, I will follow through what I've been saying all night. Commit to your vision. If you make a horny game, make it a horny game. Make them
Yeah.
all naked.
Exactly. I also think Typhon sucked. I figured we're done talking about portraits, so I might as well just say, like, I think as the god of monsters, I think the design of the fight sucked and boring, and the character sucked and boring, and like I didn't like almost anything about that whole experience.
Yeah, I think there's
I
a
just-
reason we haven't even mentioned him like once up until this point.
Yeah.
I was disappointed that they went with Typhon instead of Tiamat. And I don't know if that's like a different mythology or not, but I'd prefer the mother of all monsters over the father for goonery reasons.
That's not Greek myth, but yeah.
Yeah, my bad. I get they're all the same to me. I'm sorry.
I just think that it's dumb looking at Typhon, like especially when he spawns. He just looks like a shrugging kid that is like keeping his arms to his side. Like he just never raises them for some reason when he could just like punch the fucking section of the mountain that you're on and crush it. Like,
Yeah.
bro, what are you doing?
I think they do a really cool thing with Typhon, which is he destroys his health bar, but then like to no end because the boss is like the biggest joke in the game, at least to me. And the boss is also like
easy after you like figured out how the game works.
Yeah, I mean you basically
That's
just need to
also
figure
every
out.
boss.
Yeah, none of the bosses in this game are hard.
I think Typhon especially is not hard though because he really only has like one attack and it's just him going, "Bleh," which is the worst sound effect for a fucking attack. Never use something like that, please.
He's definitely the most egregious due to his placement in the story. Like he should be the hardest shit ever. He should have like 4 phases.
And he should have 4 phases, not fucking add bullshit spawns that like are just annoying. Like I think they did. It's everything about like what you shouldn't do in ad fights. Like ads should feel like respite. They felt like the hardest part of the fight was when he would have his tail come in and shit, and he didn't do anything.
I guess the only reason I have positive views of that boss is only because by the time I'm actually killing him, I have a nutso fucko build, so I'm just having fun anyway.
Yeah. I think I think Kronos is awesome, but I think Kronos is also just an amalgamation of PoE mechanics, and I think Typhon is not awesome because he's not that.
I think for sure Kronos is a better design boss. I think that's pretty objective.
Yes.
And I think Kronos, for the record, is basically just Maven from Path of Exile. Like it's basically the same boss. It's like a boiled down version of Maven. Maven is more like mechanically ridiculous, including like a memory game that you need to do in the middle of the fight, kind of like Prometheus is, but instead it's like in a circle and you have to run to the spots on the floor.
Yeah, I'm with you guys for the most part. I think I don't know. I think the bosses just suffer from the whole game's sort of difficulty curve issue or lack thereof. So, like, after you've done them all 50 times, like, what's the 51st, you know?
Yeah, and I wish that the only reason to, like, up your fear wasn't just to unlock those statues, because I'd actually like to do it. Because, like, I did do one run on 24, and I didn't even come close to beating it, but, like, I felt really, really engaged, and, like, I felt like it'd be pretty rewarding if I actually jump back in. I might just do that just to, like, beat it on the max fear that unlocks something. Regardless, I wish there was just more of a reason to do that, which is kind of like drudging up a previous criticism that we've beaten like 1,000 times over, so I'll drop it.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the probably the whole crux of this game is they should have incentivized fear for sure because it is really fun to play on like low mid fear runs. I think it's actually a blast.
Yeah, like I said before, I think it's a real shame when, like, especially roguelikes, I think it happens the most often when they design all of these mechanics for additional difficulty modifiers and then never bake them into the main run in some way. It just feels like kind of a waste of design space.
Agreed.
Yeah, honestly, we've pretty much already talked on like every topic, including our kind of zooming out thing. So do you guys just want to go into rating?
Yeah,
Works
sure.
for me.
All right. Why don't we start with Jordan?
Sure. So yeah. So I've seen a lot of reviews specifically mention how Hades 2 is just more Hades, and I think I think it's a good thing, and I agree with that. But I also only agree with it on like the gameplay front because like as we mentioned, like I think the narrative and the meta progression are just like straight out of Uranus. Like it's just fucking terrible. Like the biggest spin of the narrative, as we like went over, where like Mel was talking about like death to Kronos and everything, and she says it like 100 times throughout the game, and then the motherfucker never even dies, and then instead he just completely changes his fucking mind just because he had like a little outing with his grandkids for a little bit. Like, fuck off, dude. Like, I'm the princess of the fucking underworld. Like, let me turn Kronos into like a fucking basketball and I do crossovers like a Lovecraftian and one mixtape and then dunk his bitch ass into Zeus's porcelain hoop. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, come on. Like, it's despite all of that though, like it's not bad. It's definitely not like a bad game. Like it's very solid. Like the gameplay is definitely like the sunshine here. But like like the characters that we all went over, like I really like Freno, Centaura, and Hermes, and like there's a lot of cool shit that's going on. But like with everything together, like I gotta say, like this bitch is a 7. Like it's a solid game, and I thank Supergiant for making it. And I good luck on your next one, and I'm looking forward to play whatever it is.
All of us
I like
guessed
how we
8.5.
all overshot in the
That's
exact
funny.
same amount.
That's funny.
Oh my god, every single one. We all missed a point by 0.5.
Yeah, this one was tough because I felt like Jordan was like very tight-lipped about this game in the Discord channel, so I had a hard time reading what his opinion was.
All you said was like this game is insane and stuff. Like what
Yeah,
the fuck?
and I could also say like because the game peaks super quick. Like I
Yeah,
didn't mention that.
100%.
The game is like a
True.
6-hour peak. So everyone thinks it's game of the year because you played 3 fucking runs. Like play the fucking game and then tell me that this game is better than any of the other fucking games this year. Please. Like play 20 hours of this game and come back to me with that same energy.
Oh my god, bro.
I thought it was like a
Fucking-
9.5.
Oh, crushed it, dude. Fucking 100% agreed.
Oh, that's funny. Well, Thomas, why don't you go next?
Alright, so Hades 2 is a real fucking predicament for me, because the core game loop is extremely enjoyable, but there are 3 main issues with this game that I find extremely difficult to ignore. So obviously we talked about the meta progression and the narrative, but again, and I sort of briefly mentioned it, but like too much sameness with the original game, I think kind of hampers it to some degree as well. Like, is the music outstanding? Yes. Is the art outstanding? Yes. Is the gameplay and dopamine injection of the Boon system enjoyable? Yes. But it's all stuff I played 5 years ago without what feels like to me any sort of meaningful iteration or like truly any real reason to think more fondly on it now than I did. I'm going to be honest, I didn't even love it back then. I just thought it was a pretty fun little roguelite with like super immaculate presentation. And that's what this game is. This game is a decent little roguelite with just 10 out of 10 presentation. But at the end of the day, my true problem with this game lies with the meta progression over anything. Like, this game proved to me that you could staple someone's nuts to their thigh, and as long as you told them that all they had to do was collect 69 Black Lotuses on their next playthrough to get a staple remover, they'd still think that game was like a 9 out of 10 minimum. So, I think if they'd have pulled back on the grind and forced me to unlock meaningful upgrades to my abilities or the narrative through the fear mechanic, I would think insanely more fondly of this game. But, as is, the Myth of Echo included in this game serves as something bordering on prophetic, because this game just feels like being stuck in a torturous Groundhog Day loop that provides me with very little genuine satisfaction outside of the most lizard-like sections of my brain. But everything else was pretty fucking good, so it's 7 out of 10.
Oh my god, my guesses were terrible.
Yeah, my guesses are horrible. Wait, never mind. I guess.
Oh
You
no,
don't got
I was
it.
there.
Oh, never mind.
fucking
My
zingers.
bad. I actually forgot what I guessed. That's why. My bad.
I did too. I
I
thought
was
put
worried I went
Thomas
too
higher than
low. I thought there's a chance Tom could have been like an 8.5 despite what he hated.
Nah, I think if this was Hades 1 and it had the same problems, I think I would have been more like 8 or 8.5.
Oh, for sure.
I'm just curious, did all of us lower our ratings after what Thomas said in the chat earlier?
No,
Did anyone stick to their guns?
No, I didn't change anything.
I kept the same.
I
Yeah.
I definitely changed it by a full point value.
Up or down?
Down for sure.
That's funny. That was a good call.
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, so for what it's worth, I did a lot less grind than you guys did, I think, because I did keep my early access progress, so I didn't have to unlock any of the weapons except for the last one, which is actually my favorite weapon in the game. Um, so even then, I still felt like there was a lot of grind, which is, I don't know, it definitely like taints the overall experience. Um, I did love the combat, and I did mention this before briefly that I this game is so close to like Slay the Spire tier for me, and I bet it could get there if I grind out everything so that I never have to talk to an NPC again, and I could just press load save on the game and then just go into a run, and after that run is done, I can just play another run because that's what I actually want to do. But because it would take a long time to get to that point. I just have to rate it what I experienced, and even then, I still think that I get the impression I like this game a lot more than you guys did. I will say that I rate this game an 8.5 out of 10.
Fuck!
Nailed it.
Oh my god.
Give me my 2 points.
I would
Oh my
have
God,
never
that's
guessed
fresh.
8.5. I would have never guessed.
God damn, I'm about to be a 0-pointer tonight.
There's something that I want to say that I think Ben highlighted really well, though, is that I think once the more you play the game, the more you disconnect yourself from the fucking horseshit, the better the game gets. But I think that's deep.
I was gonna say the most fun I had with this game was after I cheated all of the everything, and I could play the game and try all the new weapons and do some broken builds and shit. That was the most fun I had by far. Once I fucking alleviated myself of the bullshit, this game became a lot more fun.
When you can focus on the game, that's when the game will shine the most. But I feel like that takes a lot of gameplay hours to get to.
Mhm.
But I think the payoff is there, especially if you like those systems that they put in. Like if that's something for you, then I could see this fucking year is crazy. When you guys saw my opinions in the Discord channel, that's like with 3 to 5 hours of experience with it. But then like as I played more, it was just kind of like, oh, it's that but less. It's that but less. It's that but less.
You're just doing the same thing over and over again. All right,
Well,
Seth, take us home.
My score for me has been very difficult to settle on because I've had to balance playing it on 1.0, playing it at the beginning of early access, and playing it through every patch, and then also balancing that with like our talk and like everything that's been said in the channel, some of the stuff that's been pointed out to me that I do consider, like I said with Tears of the Kingdom, I lowered that game a full point value because of Thomas's experience with it. Just because if certain things like that are possible, it's a worse game, unfortunately. But I think I am going to lean into my experience a little bit more because I mean, hold on, I just updated my game to see I have 178 hours in this game. I don't feel like I can put that much time into a game and not rate it pretty goddamn highly. I think this game is just like ludicrously fun. And some of what I've heard from you guys is like, I don't want to criticize your ratings and my rating or anything, but to me, if a game is asking you to play the game more in order to see more of its content, I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing if the core game is good. I'm not saying you guys were saying any of that. That's just kind of how I interpreted it. And the fact is, I enjoy the gameplay loop of this game a lot. 178 hours worth of a lot. And I think that my experience of early access is great or was great. And I had a lot of fun on 1.0. I think that on 1.0, for the most part, my experience of the game only increased because I thought that the new builds that I was doing with the new weapon movesets was fucking awesome. I don't know if those were released on 1.0, but you know what I mean. This game was close to a 10 out of 10. I might have rated it a 10 out of 10 if it wasn't for that trash ending. That ending was god fucking awful. It was so bad. So bad. And in addition to some of the stuff we've talked about tonight, I have to bring it down a little bit further, so I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
God damn it. Fucking
Yes,
ending,
2
fucking ending
pointers.
bullshit. Fucking ending, god damn it. I thought it was 9.
Yes.
That ending was so bad.
No, that's
It
crazy.
was really bad. It was really fucking bad. And I will say, I feel like even like I feel like we hated on this game a lot more than our scores really reflect. But at the same time, I was thinking about it, and so I mentioned earlier how I played this game right after it came out in early access last year or whatever, and I played it for like 5 hours, right? I'm gonna be honest. If we weren't playing this for Tash, I don't think I ever would have launched the game again. So now I'm thinking about it, I was like, maybe 7 out of 10 is maybe a little too generous. But I felt the same way about the first game, so I think maybe these games just aren't my shit.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's
I
great.
didn't
yeah.
expect this game to be like as divisive as it was, honestly. But in any case, that was our Hades 2 discussion. Jordan, what are we playing next week?
Yeah, next week we're playing Who's Lila, which is fucked up. And if I knew how fucked up it was, I might not have picked it. But now, so
For
fuck.
what it's worth, I'm glad you picked it.
It's fucking crazy.
It is, and I say this as someone who did. I'm not gonna like talk about it too much.
Please
but,
be
like,
mindful. I have not opened the game yet.
Okay, I'm just gonna shut the fuck up.
Ben is the one I was the most concerned about. So the fact that he likes it means that you guys are gonna have a great time.
I will say
It's
I
like-
played the first 15, 20 minutes and my interest is peaked. And I downloaded
like
that
a-
DLC too, and also that thing looks really fucking bizarre.
Yeah, one of the big inspirations, which isn't like a surprise, is David Lynch.
Yeah, I got that vibe for sure.
It's
Mostly via the music.
all over the place. It's on the store page. Like it's not hidden. So expect David Lynch style shit.
I've gotten hate from this from a couple of my friends and probably from Thomas, if not
Cringe,
before
cringe,
then
cringe,
now. I've
cringe.
never been able to sit through a David Lynch film.
Cringe.
Fall asleep every
Well,
time.
now
cringe.
I changed my worry from Ben to Seth.
Related to Hades 2. Throw Hades 2 on the pile of corpses underneath the majesty that is Mimic Logic, which continues
True.
to outrate all of these other fucking games.
If Mimic Logic came out this year, it would be our game of the year.
I still have it installed. That's saying a lot.
Well, in any case, we got one horror game coming up with Who's Lila, and then the week after that, we're playing Signalis. So we got a whole Spooktober lined up. Stay tuned.